gotten it wrong 4 times.
We tried it in Iraq. It's not working, so now we're going to try. I mean, Iran. Excuse me. We tried in Ukraine.
He always gets the name wrong.
I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it? And what a neat town. This is sort of a scenic, beautiful town. I like Keene a lot.
How many times has he missed it? He's in Iowa. It's great to be in the great state of Ohio. And they say, Joe, you're in Iowa.
How many unsafe bridges you still have here in the state of Iowa? And I was just in Ohio because they have more.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases, people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth, or your teeth are discolored, or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Were you meaning to criticize Vice President Biden for wearing a mask yesterday?
No, Biden can wear a mask. I thought that was fine. I wasn't criticizing him at all. Why would I ever do a thing like that?
Do I detect a note of sarcasm?
Are you kidding me? This baby is off the charts.
He's trying to belittle you for wearing a mask.
He's a fool, an absolute fool to talk that way. This macho stuff, presidents are supposed to lead, not engage in folly and be falsely masculine. Come on, Donald. Come on, man. How many push-ups you want here, pal? I would like to be able to be back in high school and just have he and I in a room. I hope I've demonstrated I can take a punch. And if I'm one nominee, he's going to understand what punches mean. And you want to check my shape on? Let's do push-ups together, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
That Delaware used to be part of Pennsylvania.
That's right. But we declared our independence on December the 7th, by the way. And it's not just D-Day. December the 7th is not just D-Day.
A date which will live in infamy.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Knowing it wouldn't make a difference, he jokingly asked if being married to me might move him up in the queue. He thought it might get a laugh. It didn't. And to be honest, I wasn't laughing either when it was relayed to me. My husband made a failed attempt at humor.
Look, everybody knows I botched a joke.
Unchained and unstoppable.
So are the people there just not worried about it, Cal? Are they not worried about their personal safety?
I haven't met anybody who is. But you can see, nobody's wearing them. Nobody's...
Including the cameraman.
There you go, including the cameraman. Yeah.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
We're going to have that guy who busted the MSNBC camera crew in Geneva Lake, Wisconsin on later on in the show. That was TV gold. That's what live television is all about, baby. And, the thing is, you're supposed to be able to come back a little better than Cal, whatever his name did. He just basically tossed it back to the studio as he melted into a puddle.
That's right up there with the Hall of Fame moments like Anderson Cooper wading through a raging river.
Right. And then the camera pulls out and says nothing there. Yeah, it was hilarious. And what made it even better was the guy's wearing the Green Bay Packers sweatshirt. That's just it's so classic, for Wisconsin. Anyway, welcome to the Howie Carr Show. 844-500-4242. 844-500-4242. We got a jam-packed show here today. We got a lot of Joe Biden stuff. As you just heard, Joe Biden unstuck in time yet again. This time he's confusing D-Day and December 7th, 1941, or whatever date that Delaware seceded from Pennsylvania. He made it sound like he was there, Taylor.
He probably was.
I mean, Maine seceded from Massachusetts back in 1820. It was part of the Missouri Compromise. You know, they let in one free state, which was Maine, out of Massachusetts, and then Missouri as a slave state. But I never have claimed to have been there. I don't remember the celebrations. You know,
so he's confusing 3 dates: December 7th, Pearl Harbor; June 6th, D-Day, and June 15th, 1776 is when Delaware seceded from Pennsylvania.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, you looked that up.
Yeah.
Wow. So he really was unstuck in time. Good Lord. We're going to play some of the Biden cuts, but I just wanted to start out the show. I saw this thing just before we went on the air, and it is one of the best judicial decisions I have ever read, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. We're also frustrated about the shutdowns and the insanity of these petty tyrants making these rulings that make absolutely no sense and are destroying our lives for no reason. And a judge in Clay County, Illinois, which I guess is downstate, there's a judge. His name is Mckinley, a state court judge. On Friday, he ruled from the bench in a case brought by a Clay County small business owner against Illinois Governor J.B. the Hut Pritzker, contesting the validity of Pritzker's showdown order. So Red State ran excerpts from Judge McKinney's rulings, which I'm going to read to you right now. And this is going to bring, I think, a smile to your face. Since the inception of this insanity, the following regulations, rules, or consequences have occurred. I won't get COVID if I get an abortion, but I will get COVID if I get a colonoscopy. Selling pot is essential, but selling goods and services at a family-owned business is not. Pot wasn't even legal, and pot dispensaries didn't even exist in this state until 5 months ago. And in that 5 months, they have become essential. But a family-owned business in existence for 5 generations is not. A family of 6 can pile in their car and drive to Carlisle Lake without contracting COVID. But if they all get in the same boat, they will. This is, again, an Illinois judge writing this. We are told that kids rarely contract the virus and sunlight kills it, but summer youth programs, sports programs are canceled. 4 people can drive to the golf course and not get COVID. But if they play in a foursome, they will. If I go to Walmart, I won't get COVID. But if I go to church, I will. Murderers are released from custody, while small business owners are threatened with arrest if they have the audacity to attempt to feed their families. Why can't we get some judges like this? These are just a few of the examples of rules, regulations, and consequences that are arbitrary, capricious, and completely devoid of anything even remotely approaching common sense. The defendant in this case orders you to stay home. That would be Pritzker. The defendant in this case orders you to stay home and pronounces that if you leave the state, you are putting people in danger. But his family members travel to Florida and Wisconsin because he deems such travel essential. Our initial rationale why the rules don't apply to him is that his family farm had animals that needed to be fed. Try selling that argument to farmers who have had to slaughter their herds because of disruption in the supply chain. When rules do not apply to those who make them, said Judge Michael McKinney, people are not being governed, they are being ruled. Make no mistake, these executive orders are not laws. They are royal decrees. Illinois citizens are not being governed, they are being ruled. The last time I checked, Illinois citizens are also Americans, and Americans don't get ruled. The last time a monarch tried to rule Americans, a shot was fired that was heard round the world. That led to the birth of a nation consensually governed based upon a document which ensures that on this day, in this or any American courtroom, tyrannical despotism will always lose, and liberty, freedom, and the Constitution will always prevail. Let's hear it for Judge McKinney. That was really good. 844-5. We're going to try to get him on tomorrow to discuss this. I mean, that sums it all up. we tried to get Karyn Polito today on to discuss. She did one of these online interviews with Boston Magazine, which I didn't know they were still printing, but they are, or they exist in some form. So Taylor, how did that work? How did we submit questions?
They were submitted in a written format, and they were ignored.
Our questions were. I thought we sent in some really good questions. By the way, I tweeted that out just now. If you want at Howie Carr Show, I tweeted out it's from Powerline blog, but it's you can pick it up off of my tweet account. Let me go over the questions here that we had for Karyn Polito that were ignored. Did the gathering at your brother's house in the Polito Bureau exceed 10 people? Did you and or your family violate the guidelines on social gatherings as outlined in phase 1 of your administration's reopening plan? This was the next one. One I insisted on. Was the gathering catered? Was there alcohol served? Were there people playing basketball at the gathering? Yeah, I think that may have just been, another instance where they were violating all the protocols by playing. Some of the kids in the family were, had some of their buddies over, and they were just all shooting a few hoops, which nobody in the city can do because they took down the hoops. They took down the hoops because it's one of these things, as Judge Mckinley would say. You don't get COVID by watching a 15-year-old basketball game on ESPN, but you do get COVID from actually shooting a few hoops down at the neighborhood court. Right? That's the way it works. So what kind of questions did they ask, Taylor? Do we know?
They were very softball questions is what I gathered from it. I wasn't able to watch it live, but I'm sure you'll be able to read all about it in the next edition of Boston Magazine.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a really hard-hitting interview.
Found in a local recycling bin near you.
Yeah. All right. 844-500-4242. We have a jam-packed day here. We'll tell you about the Twitter executive who's been assigned to fact-check Donald Trump. He's everything you would expect him to be. I'm Howie Carr.
A nightmare to liberals everywhere. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Cape Gun Works in Hyannis. During this difficult time, Cape Gun Works is open 7 days a week for all your gun needs. Visit them today or go to capegunworks.com.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashville.
Hey, Howie?
Yes.
Did you want to cut away to the space launch at all when it goes off, if it does go off?
No, I don't care. Do you?
I didn't think so.
It's what, Mike? This one's totally free.
I think we disproportionately stock whites too much and minorities too little. To be a farmer, it's a process. So you dig a hole, you put a seed in, you put dirt on top, add water, up comes the corn. Then we had 300, you could learn that.
Donald Trump is the world's biggest schoolyard bully.
Big gay ice cream is the best.
The Communist Party wants to stay in power in China, and they listen to the public. When the public says, I can't breathe the air, Xi Jinping is not a dictator. He has to satisfy his constituents, or he's not going to survive.
He's not a dictator?
No, he has a constituency to answer to.
I'm ready to get to work, so let's get it on.
I would be 79 years old when I took office. To start a 4-year job, maybe an 8-year job at age 79 may not be the smartest thing to do.
Why did you say what you said in that 2015 speech?
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures, and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who was your favorite actor?
Humphrey Bogart, no doubt about it. I love all the old Humphrey Bogart movies. Jimmy Cagney would be a close second.
Do you have a celebrity crush?
No celebrity crushes.
Ginger or Marianne?
I always was a Marianne person. Never was bowled over by that Hollywood look. Plus, Ginger was in more revealing attire, scantily clad.
Salty or sweet?
Neither, but if I have to pick, I'll go with sweet.
Movies or TV?
TV.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's, although I'd prefer Five Guys.
Facebook or Twitter?
Definitely Twitter. I hate Facebook.
Cake or pie?
I'm a cake guy.
Coke or Pepsi?
Diet Coke.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, obviously.
Winter or summer?
Summer. Good Lord. Why would you want winter? It's cold and it's dark.
This is Deb in Danielson, Connecticut.
This is Greg in Boston, Mass.
This is Elizabeth in Wakefield, Massachusetts, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Were you meaning to criticize Vice President Biden for wearing a mask yesterday? And can you explain why you've been tweeting about a conspiracy theory that has been proven to not be true?
No, Biden can wear a mask, but he was standing outside with his wife, perfect conditions, perfect weather. They're inside, they don't wear masks. And so I thought it was very unusual that he had one on. But I thought that was fine. I wasn't criticizing him at all. Why would I ever do a thing like that? And your second question was? I couldn't hear you. Can you take it up because I cannot hear you?
I'll just speak louder, sir.
Oh, okay, good. You want to be politically correct. Go ahead.
No, sir. I just want to wear the mask.
Go ahead.
No, sir. I just want to wear the mask. All those White House press people, they all, the males all have the same voice characteristics, shall we say. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company that I trust. Give them a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Should Congress reapprove the reauthorization of the secret FISA courts?
Yeah, President Trump has been tweeting out asking the Republicans to vote against it. It's coming up in the House. Senator Rand Paul, who's a civil libertarian of the first degree in Congress, he's also opposed to it. It gives them too much power. I say abolish the courts. Let them get their damn warrants in a regular U.S. district court, like they do for everybody else.
89% say no, they should not be reauthorized.
Yeah. See, they've abused it too much, and you just can't keep that crowd honest. They're really horrible people. All right, 844-500-4242. I want to tell you, there's this big dispute going on now. The Democrats, never letting a crisis go to waste, want to put in mail-in voting so they can cheat and steal the elections, even more so than they already are cheating and stealing the elections. And Republicans do it on occasion. I admit that. Everybody admits that. The one of the special elections in North Carolina last year was a congressional seat that it was controlled by the Republicans. They had stolen the election basically with ballot harvesting. So Republicans do it, but Democrats do it much, much more often. So Trump has been saying we can't have mail-in voting because it'll lead to Democrats stealing the election, ballot harvesting, all this kind of stuff. There's this thing in justice, in law, called chain of custody. And if you have a piece of evidence, you have to have it in a chain of custody. You always have to know where it was. And I've had personal experience with that because we used to have a tape of an interview that Zip Connolly did, the crooked FBI agent who's now in prison down here. He was an FBI agent who was also a hitman for the mob. And so he gave an interview to the radio station. And at one point, the FBI was trying to take away his pension later on after he was convicted of racketeering, before he was convicted of the gangland hit down here in Florida. And so they came and they said, they found out that I had a copy of this interview that he'd given on the radio, like at that point, 10 years ago. So they came and they said, and I handed it to them. I said, here it is. And they said, how long have you had this? And I said, since it happened. Since the interview happened, I got a recording of it just to have. And they said, where's it been? I said, it's been in my desk. And they said, well, was the desk locked? I said, no, it wasn't locked. It's my office desk. Of course it was. They couldn't use it because it had lost the chain of custody. So now they want to decide presidential elections with millions of ballots with no chain of custody. Just be printing them out and sending them off. And, if you're if you're unenrolled, say in Massachusetts, people like Joe Kennedy are saying you should be sent a Democrat and a Republican ballot. And I think there are a couple other parties too, maybe like Libertarian or Green, so if you were unenrolled, you'd get 4 ballots in the mail. Are you kidding me? This is insane. So, of course, Donald Trump is saying anybody who studied it for more than 10 seconds, including Democrats, knows that this is a terrible, terrible plan. So Twitter, though, has decided that they put this mark on his account saying that, you can't trust what he says because he says there'll be a lot of mail-in fraud. And this policy is being implemented by a guy named Yoel Roth, not Joel Roth, Yoel Roth. He's the Twitter head of site integrity. Site integrity. Okay. He is a graduate of Swarthmore and the Annenberg School for Communication at the University of Pennsylvania. According to Roth's website, this is the guy who's policing Donald Trump's Twitter account. Roth's dissertation at the Annenberg School was on gay data. Roth has described his area of study as focusing on the privacy and self-expression choices of gay men using geosocial networking services like Grindr. Okay. His PhD was about the, quote, intersection of technology and sexuality. Most of my interests, he wrote, are in the construction of gay masculinity. In the wake of this is his own Twitter account. In the wake of the 2016 presidential election, he tweeted, this guy who's interested in gay intersectionality or whatever he said, I'm just saying we fly over those states that voted for a racist tangerine for a reason. Racist tangerine. He donated $100 to Hillary Clinton's campaign because we can't bleep around anymore. He wrote in January 2017, they're actual Nazis in the White House. This is the unbiased observer from Twitter. I'm Howie Carr. Do you have no water, poor water quality, or low pressure? This is Howie Carr. Call the local water service experts, Skillings & Sons. They're ready with 24-hour service with no extra charge for after-hours calls and a fleet of trucks stocked with parts to make sure you're not without water. With over 50 years of experience, they take pride in having a family of employees that are the best in the business. For all things water, Skillings & Sons is there for you. SkillingsandSons.com. Face coverings are the new normal, but the kind you use really matters because not all offer the same protection. Boomer Naturals has a highly recommended consumer covering. It's 3 layers of ultra soft and breathable cloth, and it comes in sizes for both adults and children. This cotton polyester blend cloth is made for use up to 30 days when hand washed between uses. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use code HowieCarr20 at checkout and save 20%. Get free shipping and handling on any order over $50. The Democrat Party is so full of loonies, social justice warriors, progressives, whatever you want to call them, that sometimes certain movements get overlooked. So let's take this moment to shine the woke spotlight on crazy Mazie Hirono.
I am not going to be a fool to Mitch McConnell's shenanigans. Why should any of us? And it's not just a dog whistle, it's a bullhorn. Bullhorns. It's racism. It's basically, for many people, it's anti-Semitic. It's white supremacy.
Why not take a stand and vote yes for it? Seems like you're trying to have it both ways, not be hung by it politically, but also not say that you don't support it.
I disagree with you, Katie, that why should we engage in the kind of sham shenanigans that Mitch McConnell is really good at? I'm confused. This was just a sham.
Guess who's perpetuating all of these kinds of actions? It's the men in this country. And I just want to say to the men in this country, just shut up and step up.
I think the noose is closing, and, Giuliani is like a loose cannon, and so is the president, frankly.
The Mother's Day special was a huge success.
Of course it was. A Buy American, Support America t-shirt and a free book for $19.99. Who wouldn't love that deal?
Actually, we've had a few complaints.
From who?
A lot of people forgot that Father's Day comes right after Mother's Day, so now they wish they had bought their dad a gift too.
Oh boy. Okay, we'll run a Father's Day deal too. But then we're done. The prices can't be this low forever.
Go to HowieCarrshow.com and click on the banner to get your dad the perfect gift for only $19.99. Orders over $49.99 get free shipping.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self advice, what would you say?
Get a state job, because behind the job comes the pension.
What's the best advice anyone's ever given you?
Most advice is pretty forgettable.
What's the best money you've ever spent?
The investment I made to leave the corporate radio prison I was in, the worst people I ever worked for, no doubt about it. I'd probably be dead if I were still working for them.
If you were on a deserted island and you could only bring 3 things, what would you bring?
A radio, a Wi-Fi system, obviously, and a computer, and I would bring some books. Don't ask me which books, too hard a question.
What was your dad's job when you were growing up?
My dad worked as a resort hotel manager. He worked in Florida at the Breakers in the winter, and then he worked at the Mountain View House, as it was called then, in Whitefield, New Hampshire, and various other places.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Is Kennedy Babylon 2 your last book?
No, if I think of another topic for a book I want to write, I'll go for it. But I think it's the last of my Kennedy Babylon series. I made Kennedy Babylon 2 kind of long because I wanted to get everything in there. Now there's other stuff I could write about, but I'm Kennedy now.
Since having the sleeve operation, do you miss not eating big meals?
No, I don't. I can still eat what I used to eat. I just can't eat as much. I'm now very surprised how much I used to eat. I'm surprised at how much people I eat with consume. It's just hard to believe that I used to eat that much, but no, it's not a problem.
How is Mr. Gooner since Pearl's passing?
Mr. Gooner is drowning his sorrows in food.
What is the most trouble you ever got into as a kid?
My father was giving me grief one time at Moosehead Lake in Maine, and I threw a rock at him. He didn't much like that.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. Limerick guy says, why don't Republicans do the same thing Dems are doing and on the same scale? That way it wouldn't do them any good to dream up these scams if we're matching them tit for tat. If everybody was doing this kind of stuff, Limerick guy, it wouldn't be an election. Like, it wouldn't be an American election. It would be a Nicaraguan election or a Venezuelan election. It'd be shootouts in the street. Cars would be ambushed and burned so that the ballot boxes couldn't get to the polls, to the counting stations to be quote unquote counted. It's just got to be stopped, though. I mean, you can't allow this to happen. And the fact that the Democrats are all in on it. I mean, again, this is very serious. This is the every election is a Flight 93 election at this point. You can't let them win. Once they win, it's over. They plan to do to us what they accuse us of wanting to do to them. That's the way you got to look at it. Anything they accuse us of. All right. 844-500-4242. Neil McCabe, I've known him for a long time. He's a reporter now for the Tennessee Star, which is a great website. And he's worked for OAN, among other things, the Pilot in Boston, which is the Archdiocese newspaper. And he wrote a great story about one of the whistleblowers at the Treasury Department and how she spotted all these hacks, including the wife of Jamie Raskin, the really loathsome Democrat congressman from Maryland, that were tapping in to Michael Flynn's financial records when they were in the Treasury. And just, I mean, think about that. I mean, again, this is another thing. Richard Nixon maybe dreamed of checking people's finances when he was president, but he never did it. Anyway, so Neil McCabe is back now, and he's got another interesting story. He had an interview with the woman that was supposedly Michael Flynn's Russian girlfriend. I mean, this is just another complete concoction of the deep state and the FBI. They wanted to somehow make Michael Flynn a Russian agent. So they needed it's like, they've seen too many James Bond movies. They needed a Russian secret agent. In this case, a good-looking blue-eyed blonde at Oxford, who also has British citizenship. And to bring down Flynn, they ruined this woman's life. She's a married woman, and they said she was having an affair with Flynn, who she just met at a couple of parties. So she's suing all these people, all these deep state hacks that have destroyed her life. And Neil McCabe got an interview with her, and it's pretty interesting. So he's with us now, and he's going to talk about this. Neil, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you for name checking the Pilot, which I used to call Boston's alternative paper.
They've written editorials criticizing me, but what Boston newspaper hasn't? So,
well,
tell us about
let me start here, Allie. Let me just lay it out for you real quick, okay? Mike Flynn retires as a 3-star general. He was the director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, so he retires in 2014. And by all accounts, and I know people who served with him in Afghanistan, and served under him in Iraq, he is the greatest military intelligence general that this country has ever produced. His innovations made the surge possible in Iraq, and he was brought to Afghanistan to do that same thing. And the integration of military intelligence and tactics on the ground was absolutely brilliant. And so having accomplished what he accomplished in Iraq and Afghanistan, it was obvious that he should be at DIA. And then he bumped heads with the Obama administration. They forced him out. However, April of 2016, his top secret, sensitive, compartmentalized information clearance, which is the highest clearance our nation has. You can look at anything, you can ask about anything. It is renewed.
Yeah.
And then in August of 2016, the FBI is investigating him as a spy for Russia. What happened? Well, what happened is he started working on the Trump campaign.
Yeah, just like Papadopoulos' name got dropped in a story to the Washington Post, I think, because they needed some quote unquote advisors. And so they just came up with this list of names, and and Papadopoulos thought, oh, this is a nice mention in the Washington Post, and destroyed his life.
Yeah, and so we've learned so many new words in the last few years, right? How many people now? Everyone can say exculpatory, right? They used to be a hard word to pronounce. Everyone can now say exculpatory.
Yes.
And people say to me now, what is your predicate, right? Everyone talks about, well, what's the predicate for this? The predicate is the excuse for the FBI to target you. And that's what Svetlana Lakova, that's what she provided for them, because she met with Flynn she was a student, and she later became a fellow. She's a researcher at Cambridge University.
Yeah.
Flynn was at a dinner. It was like one of these spy dinners, and she made a presentation about her research into Russian spies in the 1930s. And this was sort of she was there at the dinner. Flynn was there at the dinner, and she gave Flynn a vintage Stalin era Russian postcard. And that was basically the extent, right? This became extrapolated into a honeypot plot. And I'll give you another set of dates. On August 10th, 2016, the FBI opens investigations on Paul Manafort, Carter Page, George Papadopoulos. On August 11th and 12th, the legendary Stephen Halper, who was a longtime political and intelligence operator, meets with the FBI. That's Thursday, Friday. You go over the weekend. Monday is the 15th. On August 15th, lo and behold, the New York Times publishes the Paul Manafort Black Ledger from Ukraine that we now know is a forgery. So now he resigns from the Trump campaign. And then also on that day, Peter Strzok, the legendary counterintelligence officer for the FBI, sends a text to Lisa Page, a lawyer in the office of Deputy FBI Director.
His girlfriend.
Strzok and Page, they became close, Howie.
Yeah.
As close as a man and woman could get. And this text says, what about that insurance policy we were talking about in Andy's office? And then on the next day, August 16th, FBI opens on Flynn.
Well, let me get into some of this stuff. We're familiar with some of this stuff, but I want to get into this thing about this guy Halper. Now, he was getting paid over $1 million by various federal agencies. We don't even know. I don't think we even know how many federal agencies. It was DOD, Department of Defense, and also the FBI was paying him all kinds of money. Now, supposedly, this guy had a very bad reputation in Washington back in the 70s and 80s. Isn't that correct?
Well, I mean, it depends on, whose bad reputation. He was responsible for stealing President Jimmy Carter's debate briefing book and giving it to the Reagan campaign, his friend Bill Casey. So some people liked him for that.
I don't hate him for that. I was thinking of other things actually, but he was making tons of money, right?
Oh, he had a phony bank that Oliver North was using as a front. I mean, the guy's been his father-in-law, Ray Klein, was the deputy director of the CIA. So he has been in these circles that between politics, he was actually he was an undersecretary in the Reagan administration, I believe, in the State Department. So I mean, the guy's been around.
So let's go to this dinner, okay, where she meets General Flynn. Now, let me read you the quote from your story. This is from Halper. He told them he was an eyewitness and saw General Flynn and I leave together in a taxi. It is just not true. Halper was not at the event. My husband came and picked me up and left with his security detail. It is so crazy. The reporters ignored that General Flynn met his wife when he was 14 and that I am a mother. So Halper is just trying to get more money out of these agencies by claiming that he's caught this decorated 3-star general in it with a Russian honeypot. Right?
I would suggest to you, and I didn't put it in the article, Howie, but he was getting his money from the Office of Net Assessment, which is sort of this shadowy office in the Pentagon, millions of dollars to write papers, right?
Millions.
The Inspector General found that of 800 of his footnotes were all bogus. Like the reports were bogus. He was getting his millions.
What is he? Does he know Christopher Steele? Did they go to the same graduate school?
He was, I believe, I can't prove it. I believe he was hired to fix the election. And that's what he was doing, because not only was he being paid by DOD, but now we know that he was not only just an informant, but he was an agent provocateur for the FBI, engaging. He offered to hire Papadopoulos. He invited Carter Page over his house in Great Falls. He's interacting with all these characters, trying to loop them in.
So then then it goes on that they write all these spooks write that this woman that you talked to, Svetlana, gave Flynn money and invited him to a Moscow dinner to celebrate the 10th anniversary of RT. That's the Russian-owned state broadcaster. They're on cable TV. And at the dinner, General Flynn sat at the same table as Russian President Vladimir Putin.
This is evidence.
So the evidence. So then they say the Russians presented Flynn with evidence of the payments in his relationship with Lokova, Svetlana, and they were able to flip him as if the guy who runs Russia is going to make the direct overture to this American spy. And by the way, as you point out, Flynn doesn't speak Russian and Putin doesn't speak English. And so how would they be communicating for this deal to go down? It's not possible.
And there was a woman sitting behind them, and somebody waited for the woman to get up and snap the picture, but you can see the empty chair between the two men. They're not even looking at each other.
So, I like this. I like this quote from Svetlana in your story, and again, it's in the Tennessee Star. It's a really interesting story. It gives you a lot of background on the depths to which they went to sink Donald Trump and the people around him. The people going after Flynn always talk about the same three incidents: payments from the Russian government in 2015, the RT dinner, and his affair with me. Okay, so you have payments from the Russian government. So this thing was put together by, among others, Andrew McCabe, whose wife was getting payments from the Clinton campaign, right? His affair with me, it was also put together by Peter Strzok and Lisa Page from the FBI, who were having an affair together. So these people this is projection, isn't it? They're accusing other people of doing what they're doing.
You were talking about projection, in the beginning, when I was coming on. The other rule about the Obama administration is when they said they were doing something, they were doing the opposite. So when he said we're doing nothing, we were defending the Second Amendment, no one supports Israel more than I do. It's almost like whatever they said they were doing was the clue to what they were really doing. The opposite.
Good Lord.
So she's trying to put it all together, and
but didn't they throw it? Didn't they Didn't they throw the case out of court?
Well, what they did, she has to appeal, and she's going to appeal, and they put in their filing, and I didn't put it into the article because you only have so many words, sir. But David Ignatius flew to Cambridge to interview her, to ask her about the affair.
Oh,
she got in an argument. The reporters from the Wall Street Journal called, say, we're calling about your affair with Flynn. And she's like, what affair? What are you talking about? And they started arguing with her, trying to say, no, your affair. We know all about it. She's like, who are you people?
Yeah, David Ignatius, the guy that he mentioned earlier, from the Washington Post, that's the guy who got the leaked transcript of the Flynn Russian ambassador conversation, and whoever leaked that, again, as has been pointed out many times, could get up to 20 years theoretically. I mean, that's a felony leak. And this is just disgraceful. I mean, there's so many layers here, and this woman was just collateral damage, but her life has been damaged, hasn't it?
Well, it's like Ray Donovan said, what office do I go to get my name back? I mean, it's classic, the Boston Globe, the corrections on page 7. It's like, forever she's going to be tagged as the mistress and the woman who tried to flip Flynn. And even the payment to RT, that wasn't even from the Russian government. RT paid. He had the same speakers bureau as Andy McCabe, and it was the speakers bureau that was negotiating over the fee. The Russians didn't even want to pay him as much as they did. If they really wanted to flip Flynn, they would have given him $1 million.
Right.
I think he got $45,000.
Well, as we know from the Steele dossier, they were willing to give Carter Page $11 billion. Right? Remember that? $11 billion. That's what they said. Neil, this is a great story. We appreciate it. So we'll tweet out this story too as well, and people can go to what's the website? TennesseeStar.com. They can find it right there, TennesseeStar.com. But we'll tweet it out right now. Thanks as always, Neil. Keep us informed. These are great stories. A lot of good background information about the deep state. I'm Howie Carr.
He's suave. He's debonair. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by 110 Grill, now open for outdoor dining on their beautiful patios in New Hampshire. To find your nearest location, sign up for their loyalty program, or to order takeout, go to 110grill.com.
At Subaru of New England, we believe in vehicles that families can trust. And since your safety is our top priority, our retailers are making it easy for you to shop online right from your home. Just go to SubaruofNewEngland.com, enter your zip code to locate your Subaru retailer, and contact to confirm participation. It takes love and community to make a difference, and our New England Subaru retailers are committed to being a resource for our neighbors. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
Cape Gunworks has added virtual online classes during this difficult time. Based in Hyannis, Cape Gunworks remains open 7 days a week for all of your gun and ammo needs. The range is also open full-time. Cape Gunworks now carries the MyCube Survival Safe. This safe is good for ammo, cash, and your pistol. To learn more about the online classes, go to CapeGunworks.com. That's CapeGunworks.com. CapeGunworks.com.
He's New England's talk radio king. He's Howie Carr.
The only French term I like is sans culotte, without trousers. I used to describe Ted Kennedy as sans culotte because after the Obar incident, when he was wandering around down on the beach, with his 20th Scotch tumbler of the day in his hand, stumbling around with an off. He was just there, as the Michelle Cassone, Patches Date said. He was just there, without trousers, or as we say in Paris, sans culotte.
We've seen nothing that we can work, that I can work with President Bush on, and I'm disappointed because I thought that there might be some interest because of what he said in the campaign.
President Bush, this is your brain. This is your brain on Botox. Okay, that's the lesson of that one. I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE. 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
I got to get back into my send. We'll do it during the top of the hour. I got to get back in.
Howie Carr.
Would you say you're more like your mom or your dad?
No, I don't think I ended up being like either of them now that I think about it. My mother worked hard, but she never really learned how to make a lot of money. And my father didn't work so hard, but he had a good personality. He was good with people. He was better than me with people. That's what I'm saying. I'm not like either one of them, I don't think.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a brother, a younger brother.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, all kinds of history. I loved all kinds of history.
If you could have 3 houses besides the ones you already have, anywhere in the world, where would they be?
I wouldn't mind having another house in Palm Beach on Clark Avenue. Maybe a place in southern Maine. I don't need a third place.
Didn't you already have a house in Maine?
I did. It was on an island. It was not a good fit for the mailroom manager.
I've heard the house was haunted. Is that true?
Yes. And my wife didn't really care that much for my relatives.
This is Paul in North Andover, Mass.
This is Luana in Lexington, Massachusetts.
This is Lauren in Augusta, Maine, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
781 says, why are all these people suing the government? I think, Carter Page is obviously going to sue the government. I think Flynn will sue the government when this nightmare is over. And Svetlana has been trying to sue, but she hasn't had much luck. I mean, the problem is the government has unlimited resources, and they delay. I mean, the old saying, you can't fight City Hall. If you can't fight City Hall, how do you fight the federal government? And it just goes on and on. She said she tried to sue and it's been thrown out. And, then she tries to, I'm sure she's been trying to sue Stefan Halper, Pickle Nose, I call him. And, he's going to say he can't tell anything because it's covered. It's secure, national security, all that kind of stuff. Isn't it astounding, though? I mean, this guy just basically went to cocktail parties and screwed around, didn't do anything worth a damn after he stole the Jimmy Carter briefing book in, 1980? Hasn't done anything since then. And he's getting over $1 million from the Pentagon. It'd be one thing if he was writing a report for $5,000 and it was a real report. He's just hanging around. He's hanging around going to cocktail parties at Cambridge or Oxford, wherever the hell he was. Cambridge, I think it was. And just doing this stupid stuff and trying to infiltrate the Trump campaign. And, people say this is, considering they thought Hillary was going to win, this is kind of complicated, but they don't have anything to do. I mean, if they weren't doing this, they'd have to be investigating, I don't know, things like terrorism or shooters at Parkland High School or Boston Marathon bombers. They'd have to be doing real work. This is more fun. They get to go to more cocktail parties. They get to fly to London. Where would you rather be, London or Kabul? I'm Howie Carr. was the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who do you consider the biggest rhino in the Republican Party?
Probably is Paul Ryan. I wish a Republican were still the speaker, but Paul Ryan was scarcely a Republican. And there was a reason he was Mitt Romney's running mate, because we had a rhino ticket in 2012.
Where did the expression, "How many more, Mr. Speaker? How many more?" come from?
That comes from the State House. There used to be a state rep who sometimes would talk about atrocities that were happening in crime. And he would get up there and he would say, "How many more, Mr. Speaker? How many more?" And I just picked it up and
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Were you meaning to criticize Vice President Biden for wearing a mask yesterday?
No, Biden can wear a mask. I thought that was fine. I wasn't criticizing him at all. Why would I ever do a thing like that?
Do I detect a note of sarcasm? Are you kidding me? This baby is off the charts.
He's trying to belittle you for wearing a mask.
He's a fool, an absolute fool to talk that way. This macho stuff, presidents are supposed to lead, not engage in folly and be falsely masculine. Come on, Donald. Come on, man. How many push-ups you want to do here, pal? I would like to be able to be back in high school and just have he and I in a room. I hope I've demonstrated I can take a punch. And if I'm one nominee, he's going to understand what punches mean. And you want to check my shape on? Let's do push-ups together, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
That Delaware used to be part of Pennsylvania.
That's right, but we declared our independence on December the 7th, by the way. You know, and it's not just D-Day. On December the 7th, it's not just D-Day.
A date which will live in infamy.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Knowing it wouldn't make a difference, he jokingly asked if being married to me might move him up in the queue. He thought it might get a laugh. It didn't. And to be honest, I wasn't laughing either when it was relayed to me. My husband made a failed attempt at humor.
Look, everybody knows I botched a joke.
Unchained and unstoppable.
So are the people there just not worried about it, Cal? Are they not worried about their own personal safety?
I haven't met anybody who is. But you can see, nobody's wearing them. Nobody's...
Including the cameraman.
There you go, including the cameraman. Yeah.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show. And today's first lesson is, if you ever get jammed up, at least if you're a Democrat, just say it was a botched joke. John Kerry, his stupid joke about how you could study hard and get somewhere, or you could not study and end up in Iraq. That was a botched joke. Remember that?
Everybody knows I botched a joke.
It's the least mature way of handling a mistake. I was just kidding. It was a joke. Everyone needs to calm down.
He had a lot of botched jokes. He had a botched joke about the Italian army one time too, way back when. And now Gretchen Half-Whitmer, as President Trump calls her in Michigan, her husband tried to pull a "Do you know who I am?" to get his boat into the water up in Michigan. And she claimed he was.
You know who I am?
Yeah, Mo Green. That was a botched joke too, saying that to Michael Corleone in The Godfather too. It was a botched joke. Everything is a botched joke, right, Grace?
Yeah, and the thing about saying, "Do you know who I am?" is if the person doesn't, you can be sure the whole world soon will know who you are, and you're probably going to wish that they didn't. And this is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, and this is, Rush was complaining today about social media, and I agree, and Twitter is out of control with this fact-checking on Republicans, but not on Democrats. But there is a role for social media. This story about Gretchen Whitmer's husband pulling the "Do you know who I am?" after, she's stomping on everybody in the state of Michigan, including our friend, the 77-year-old barber, Carl Minke. It never would have gotten out except the owner of the boatyard put it on his Facebook page.
Yeah,
right?
these are the unsung heroes of the coronavirus pandemic. And I'm going to include Andy Olson, who will be with us at 4:30 on that list, who called out the MSNBC cameraman for not wearing a mask, although the host or the anchor, Cal Perry, was berating people for not wearing masks and then didn't reveal that his own staff was not wearing masks. And he made it clear that him and his wife both have said, listen, it's not the cameraman's fault. He's probably a regular guy doing his job, but you can't have these double standards. It's the same thing with Karyn Polito. I am sure she's exhausted. I'm sure she wants a day off, but you can't yell at people for gathering and whine about it and then throw a party. It just doesn't look good. It's an optics thing, guys.
Right. And again, we're going to try to get that judge in downstate Illinois on tomorrow, Judge Mckinley, who wrote this scathing decision against J.B. the Hutt Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, who has been, he may be even more out of control than Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan.
Howie, I have a story here that I think is going to get passed over because of how fast the news cycle rolls around, but I think you will get a kick out of it. So do you remember Rebecca Jones? She was that woman from Florida who said she was fired from the coronavirus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do
site.
remember that. Yeah, it turns out she's an alleged stalker.
Yes. So the follow-up to this story, which you will not hear anything about except in the New York Post, is fired Florida data scientist. Now, she said originally that they fired her because she was trying to be transparent and she wanted to put up numbers on the site that did not support Governor DeSantis's decision to reopen Florida. She was basically saying they're silencing the numbers because it doesn't support their narrative. Right. Governor DeSantis came back and said she was fired for multiple reasons, including the fact that she should have never been hired in the first place because she had an affair with a student and then she was accused of cyber stalking him. 3 counts of cyber stalking. According to this report, she allegedly created a revenge porn website and
she had a child by him too.
Yes. And she's still currently she also wrote a 342-page manifesto with a narrative of her affair with the man. She posted online at least 60 pages. So maybe not the most stable person to tell us about what's really happening with the coronavirus.
It's kind of like that whistleblower in D.C. who said that what do you say? The CDC knew all about it and that they'd fired him because he was trying to blow the whistle. And then a Politico reporter of all places, a left-wing website, who covered the healthcare beat, pointed out that all this was true, and he was told in January, and he had the email trail or text trail to prove it, that this guy was a real foul ball, and he was going to get fired just for being just a terrible person to work with. It had nothing to do with him being a whistleblower. He wasn't a whistleblower. Then they produced emails showing that he was supporting all the initiatives that the Trump administration was taking until he got transferred.
That's the thing about these stories, though. Whenever they come out, if it seems as if it's too good to be true for the Democrats, it usually is.
Well,
There's
here's
usually
the thing,
some
Grace. Here's the
major
thing.
detail they're forgetting.
If the whistleblower ends up on, say, 60 Minutes,
yeah,
BS.
If there's a hashtag I stand with insert whistleblower's name,
right,
you might want to give it a few days before you get them tattooed on your bicep. Howie, speaking of the New York Post, I also wanted to tell you this story. So we always talk about this on the show because we're a fan of the Post. They write good stuff. They have catchy headlines. They're an old school newspaper. They actually, bust some stories. Yes. And one thing we've always noticed is if the Post does not like you and then you try to attack the New York Post, you are without a doubt going to get so slammed by the New York Post for the rest of your existence. And someone who just fell into this trap is Governor Andrew Cuomo. Now, I'm going to read you straight from the New York Post. First, he blamed nursing homes. Then he blamed President Trump. Now, Andrew Cuomo is attacking the Post for shining light on his widely panned state policy barring nursing homes from turning away coronavirus positive patients, which may have fueled more than 5,000 deaths in the facility. So this is the quote from Andrew Cuomo. There are columnists who made this point at the Post who are 100% supportive of Donald Trump, and that's fine, but then believe, we have to kill all Democrats. I get it. I understand. They're in open support of the Trump administration. I guess their attitude is to be pro-Donald Trump. You have to be anti-Democrat, which I really don't understand.
Grace, is this the same governor who said that anyone who believed in the Second Amendment or was pro-life should leave the state of New York? I believe it is the same guy. And
he's also the guy who said America wasn't that great to begin with.
You know what? You know the headline that really got him going though yesterday, Grace. Maybe you didn't see it. It was Bob McManus wrote a column on the op-ed page, and he said Andrew Cuomo, first he killed grandma, then he killed the New York State economy.
Yes.
I thought that was a good headline.
Well, they know how to get their politicians angry. I mean, de Blasio tried this too. He tried to go on the offensive, and now he is the shining star of the New York Post. You'd be hard pressed to get through an issue of the Post without seeing de Blasio, or as they call him, his honor's name. And now they're turning on Cuomo. But should Andrew Cuomo really be talking about killing people? He's saying the Post's mentality is to kill all Democrats. They're a tabloid. They're not in charge of nursing homes. They didn't do anything. But once again, the blame game continues.
You know who else he blamed? I mean, I don't want to go on too much about Cuomo when we have other standing targets like Pritzker and Whitmer. But Cuomo also said that the reason he acted so slowly was there weren't any stories in the New York Times about COVID-19. And someone went back and checked at the time, when he said he was inactive because there were no stories. Do you know how many stories they've been in the New York Times at that point, Grace?
How many?
500.
Oh, a baker's 500.
Yeah, his numbers were just a little off.
But this is the thing about the nursing home situation, is that it does not take a soothsayer or you don't have to be a fortune teller or a genius to know that if this disease is attacking the elderly, you should be protecting the nursing homes. You should not be sending these sick patients into the nursing homes. And no matter which way or which way you try to defend yourself in that decision making, it's not a good decision. It just doesn't make sense on any angle. So that's why these governors are rightfully getting so much flack, whether it's Charlie Baker or Governor Cuomo or any of these people.
Tom Wolf in Pennsylvania, whose health secretary, Dr. Rachel, formerly Richard Levine, took his 95-year-old mother out of one of these nursing homes before they started shipping the COVID-19 patients into the nursing homes.
Yeah, if they weren't so obsessed with, yelling at us all to wash our hands 24/7, and they focused on some of the older people that actually get sick from this, maybe so many of them wouldn't have died. Howie, when we get back, I have more news. But first, I want to tell people it's a great day to get the special Buy American, Support America t-shirt. You also get a Howie Carr show or a Howie Carr book with it. It's an unbelievable special. Go to howiecarrshow.com, click on the store. Make sure you get this because it's a Father's Day special, but it will, Father's Day is going to be here before you know it. When we get back, Howie, I have some news about Andrew Yang and a very interesting take from Free Beacon on what's really concerning Democrats right now. And this might surprise you.
Grace, the whistleblower in Florida that wrote the 342-page manifesto about the boyfriend who jilted her and knocked her up.
Yes.
She just texted in. That manifesto was just a joke.
Oh, the classic manifesto joke. How did we not see that? We got to improve our sense of humor, Howie. We're just not reading between the lines of all these parodies, as Adam Schiff might call them.
Who says humor is dead? There are jokes going on all the time. Both of them are botched, though, unfortunately. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr. You can trust him. He's not like the others.
Hey, campers, this is
Howie Carr. Camping season is here and Cold Springs RV is ready for you. If a new or pre-owned camper has been on your wish list, check out the great specials online at coldspringsrv.com. The inventory that was purchased for the RV show that was canceled is now bursting at the seams. Now is the time to score a great deal. Visit coldspringsrv.com for RV specials, as well as information on hours and operations. Safety is Cold Springs RV's top priority, so please visit the website to learn more.
Well,
if it is service you need, the brand new state-of-the-art facility is ready for you, servicing all makes and brands. If your RV needs body work, whether it's a collision repair, roof replacement, or a new paint job, they have you covered. From minor repairs to major insurance jobs, Cold Springs RV can do it all. Their body shop works with all insurance companies. As a full-service RV dealer, you know they can fix just about anything. Cold Springs RV, Route 114, Ware, New Hampshire. coldspringsrv.com.
The word that's helping Elizabeth Warren get through her so-so campaign? So.
Will you raise taxes on the middle class to pay for it? Yes or no?
So the way I see this, so understand, taxing income is not going to get you where you need to be the way taxing wealth does. So no, and I'm not here to criticize other Democrats. So my proposal is that student loan debt would be canceled up to $50,000. So,
Elizabeth, can you put this issue to bed and tell us whether or not you are, in fact,
a member of a minority group? So, middle-class families.
Why did you list yourself as an American Indian on this Texas bar application?
So, I grew up out in Oklahoma. So look.
Why did you check those boxes?
So,
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth or your teeth are discolored or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
I've seen a lot of Anchor cupcakes in my day. Here are some of the latest network nitwits.
And he says, if I'm elected president, I will push for a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on all members of Congress. Correct me, there already are term limits, so what does he mean?
And what are we hearing in the background? Is that shelling? That he would demean her specifically in that way. He shouldn't talk about the first lady that way. We aren't all here to make salads for men. It's disgusting. I mean, I'm presuming he was talking about Karen Pence when he said second lady. Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Not Montana. I'm talking about North Dakota. No, never mind.
Yeah, no,
Ignore me.
I mean, that's
I was
could add to
I was getting Montana and North Dakota confused because, I don't know, I just was.
This is Lynn in sunny Las Vegas.
This is Dan from the moonbat capital of Jamaica Plain.
This is Gigi in Leominster, Massachusetts, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
There's bad weather north of here in Florida. It's not great around here. The state's kind of stuck in a stormy pattern. A lot of thunderstorms. And the SpaceX launch has been scrubbed for the day due to that. It's not a surprise. 844-500-4242. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company that I trust. Give them a call to get a free, no obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Is Howie going to Mar-a-Lago tonight?
Oh, I like this poll question.
What kind of poll question is this?
Well, Trump's in Cape Canaveral. Is he going to be there this evening? And is Howie going to take a slide at 6 o'clock?
Meatloaf on a Wednesday.
Mar-a-Lago, except for the beach club, Mar-a-Lago is shut down.
Howie, you got to get some chocolate cake for me.
Trump doesn't seem like the guy who gets his tan on a beach.
I don't think he's coming. I don't think he's coming to Mar-a-Lago anyway.
All right. The poll question is, should Congress reapprove the reauthorization of the secret FISA courts?
No, absolutely not. Devin Nunes is saying they can't vote on it because the Democrats have decided to have, mail-in voting for on roll call votes. But
Howie, it's called voting at home, according to Nancy Pelosi.
Right. I call it voter fraud at home. But no, under no circumstances, whatever the mechanics of the vote are, they should vote no. No more FISA courts. The FISA courts deserve to die, much like the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
91% are with you, Howie.
All right.
Howard, did you see the story about and I'm using the hip expression, the Karen at the dog park?
Yes.
It wasn't a dog park. It was just a park, I think, in general.
No, it was at Central Park, I think. And this guy, he claimed he was a birder, and the dog was running around, and it was scaring off the birds he was trying to watch.
So he asked her if she would put her dog on a leash, and then she threatened to call the police, and then she did call the police, and she started saying things like, I'm paraphrasing here, but stuff that she was going to mention
he had threatened to do something to the dog. And he pulled out some treats.
He gave it a treat. He said,
you're not going to like what I do. And he took out some treats.
Right. I mean, I think we can all for sure say that she was in the wrong. She was a complete Looney Tune.
Yeah. Well, the ironic thing is she said that she called him African-American, was threatening her. And now it turns out that she's like a major league Democrat fundraiser. Exactly. What a shocker, huh?
No,
what a shocker.
She donated to Pete Buttigieg, President Obama. She's a big time liberal. But it was funny because before that came out, all the liberals were on Twitter going, "Oh, she'll probably get a job at Fox News.
Oh no, you could.
Trump will appoint her to his cabinet."
If all the people that were tweeting that out, how stupid are they? Have they ever talked to anybody on Wall Street? Wall Street nowadays is all Democrats. It's all big money, beautiful people flying off to the Hamptons, on their helicopters, taking the little private jets to Nantucket or Martha's Vineyard. I mean, but this is all BS.
As soon as I saw her approaching the camera saying, "Could you turn that off, please?" I was like, yeah, there's a D in front of her name.
Yeah,
right.
She was a moon bat. But that's the annoying thing is whenever people refer to Karens, there's this insinuation that they're MAGA people or they're Republicans.
Oh, I don't think so.
MAGA
Grace.
people are not Karens. We want to be left alone. Most middle-aged women who voted for Trump are not going to bother you.
Grace, I think you don't understand the definition of a Karen. A Karen is somebody who wants to push your weight around.
No, I understand a Karen, but Howie, what I'm saying is the people I follow on Instagram and Twitter, they'll usually say Karen, and it's usually someone from, a red state who's telling someone, "Oh, you parked in their spot wrong," and they act as if that person is
Karen's another characteristic of a Karen, a hyphenated last name, right?
Yes,
very true.
The mask was,
and there are not too many hyphenated last name women wearing MAGA hats.
My mom
experience.
keeps telling me over and over again before I get married, whatever you do not hyphenate your last name because it is a administrative nightmare. That's a hot tip from Gene for everyone. Andrew Yang is calling for the U.S. to seriously consider a 4-day work week. I wanted Howie's take on this. He thinks that 3-day weekends are way better than 2-day weekends.
You know what people in Massachusetts are saying? Well, I'm not going to work that extra day. Actually, they haven't worked in 2.5 months now.
That's a very good point. Yeah. I don't know if this is the best time for Andrew Yang to be pushing this agenda. I think people just want to work in general. Bring back any work week.
Yeah, I know. And bring all the hacks back to working 1 day a week. We'll be back on from Howie Carr. Do you have no water, poor water quality, or low pressure? This is Howie Carr. Call the local water service experts, Skillings & Sons. They're ready with 24-hour service with no extra charge for after-hours calls and a fleet of trucks stocked with parts to make sure you're not without water. With over 50 years of experience, they take pride in having a family of employees that are the best in the business. For all things water, Skillings & Sons is there for you. skillingsandsons.com.
The Mother's Day special was a huge success.
Of course it was. A Buy American, Support America t-shirt and a free book for $19.99. Who wouldn't love that deal?
Actually, we've had a few complaints.
From who?
A lot of people forgot that Father's Day comes right after Mother's Day, so now they wish they had bought their dad a gift too.
Oh boy. Okay, we'll run a Father's Day deal too. But then we're done. The prices can't be this low forever.
Go to HowieCarrshow.com and click on the banner to get your dad the perfect gift for only $19.99. Orders over $49.99 get free shipping. He might not be flashy, but he's there when it counts. Here's 1 minute of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
For the first time in my memory, I agree with Nancy Pelosi. I am indeed the Grim Reaper when it comes to the socialist agenda that they've been ginning up over in the House.
You've watched the fight, you've watched the tactics, but here's what I want to tell you. In the very near future, Judge Kavanaugh will be on the United States Supreme Court.
Noted with great interest the Green New Deal. And we're going to be voting on that in the Senate. We'll give everybody an opportunity to go on record and see how they feel about the Green New Deal. Well, first on the impartiality issue, do you think Chuck Schumer's impartial? Do you think Elizabeth Warren is impartial?
No.
Bernie Sanders is impartial? So let's quit the charade. This is a political exercise. Nobody is supposed to be guilty until proven innocent in the United States of America. Look, we're at an impasse. We can't do anything until the speaker sends the papers over. So everybody enjoy the holidays.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile's amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com. Bernie Sanders is officially in the race for 2020. Let's look back at some of the septuagenarian's greatest hits.
Should we give tax breaks to billionaires, which is what Trump wants, or demand that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes?
Blah, 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 blah. It's funny. Sometimes American journalists talk about how bad a country is because people are lining up for food. That's a good thing. In other countries, people don't line up for food. The rich get the food and the poor starve to death.
We understand your wife has hired a lawyer to represent her in a possible probe into a land deal that fell apart. This was back when she was president of Burlington College.
No, it was not. Let me say a word on that.
Yeah, well, I just want to ask you, do you know she's under FBI investigation?
Excuse me. My wife is about the most honest person I know.
At the end of the day, you don't necessarily need a choice of 23 underarm spray deodorants or 18 different pairs of sneakers.
People should not be dying in the United States of America when they are sick.
We will raise taxes.
We all love President Trump's off-the-cuff comments, but he's never in rarer form than when he's speaking at a rally. Take a listen.
I hit Pocahontas way too early. I thought she was gone. She's emerged from the ashes, and now it looks like she could beat Sleepy Joe. He's fallen asleep. He has no idea what the hell he's doing or saying.
I don't know. I'm not a vain person. But I look better under an incandescent light than these crazy lights that are beaming down on. That guy's got a serious weight problem. Go home, start exercising. Got a bigger problem than I do. Now he goes home and his mom says, what the hell have you just done? How do you top that? I'm just ready. The big, beautiful crescendo and this character's going back home. One person just going home to mommy a little bit sooner. These are phony people, but that's okay. You know, when you think of it, I'm president and they're not.
You really have to elect me. Whether you like me or not, it makes no difference because our country will go to hell if any of these people get in.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
So are the people there just not worried about it, Cal? Are they not worried about their own personal safety?
I haven't met anybody who is. I think people felt like the Supreme Court made the decision here in Wisconsin that it was time to open up. But you can see, here, just around. Nobody's wearing them. Nobody's...
Including the cameraman.
There you go, including the cameraman. Yeah. Katie?
Half your crew's not wearing it.
Striking images. Cal Perry. Cal, thank you very much.
We're on live TV right now. Live TV is a minefield. The camera never blinks, as Dan rather famously said, and you can have more unintended consequences when you're out on the street, out on a remote location, rather than being in a studio. And as MSNBC found out the other day, they were doing a live shot from Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, a popular resort at Memorial Day, and no one was wearing a mask. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe the people had looked at the death certificates and seen that the danger is not that great. In fact, it's very small. It's vanishingly small if you're under the age of, say, 40 or 50, and you don't live in a nursing home, and you're not obese or have diabetes or one of the other underlying conditions. So, of course, MSNBC was trying to make it into a red state deal, stupid, boomer, rube, deplorables, et cetera, et cetera. And so as the live shot was going on, a guy in a Green Bay Packers sweatshirt came up and started recording it with his own cell phone. And he noticed that the cameraman was not wearing a mask, and he pointed it out. And it went out on live MSNBC broadcast, the network. Joining us now is that man in the Green Bay Packers sweatshirt, Andy Olson. Andy, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
That's one of the great TV moments of 2020. I'm telling you. I know it's early, but it's going to be hard to top that one, especially since it's so brief. It's only like 25 seconds long. You really put them in their place.
I had no intention of calling him out or anything like that, but when he turned the camera on me, that's kind of, that's when I wanted to point out his, inconsistency, hypocrisy.
His inconsistencies. That's a charitable Midwestern way to put it.
There you go.
Hypocrisy is probably a more direct way. So tell me something about yourself. What were you doing? Where was the actual live shot taking place?
It was right on the lake, and I was up there with my family for the night. We escaped to Illinois for a day and spent the night up just outside of Lake Geneva. And we had just got done eating inside and got out, and I noticed the crew along the lake there. They had been kind of clustered together before they started filming. They're standing like face to face with each other. I thought that was interesting because, one guy is wearing a mask, another guy, two other guys were not. So I was like, I got in the car and we were going to take off, and my wife is like, I'm like, I got to go see what's going on here. Are they, because it looks like we're going to start filming, and I'm like, are they going to start calling out people? I'm like, I got to get this, because here they are. And so I just walked around with my camera. I was going to maybe post it to my Facebook and get a couple likes, and had no intention of being interruptive or, anything like that. And then, as I heard him talking about, people not wearing masks, and, I was like, okay, this is hypocritical. And then he touched the cameraman, turned him to kind of, call me out, mask shaming, I guess.
Right. No, that's what it was.
That's when I wanted to, I'm like, okay, don't, if you're going to call me out, I'm going to call you out. That's not right. I didn't appreciate the hypocrisy of this crew. I thought they were just a local news crew, but it turns out they were, I guess, live on one of the big stations. So
now, so did you know that you were live on camera when they?
No, not at all.
No,
not at all. I walked away and I went back and I was like, I kind of called these guys out. And I said, I'm sure they're going to delete the footage and, edit it up and, do what they do and, then present it on here. I had no idea till the next day when somebody said, hey, you're on, you were on MSNBC. And I was like, what? I had no idea. So no, I did not know.
Now, so you're from Illinois. I thought you guys were in lockdown. Everyone in Illinois, except for unless your last name is Pritzker. I thought everybody was locked down.
Yeah. No, we are in lockdown. That's why we wanted to kind of get away. It's kind of sad here, I mean, you drive through little towns and everything's shut down. You can't even, you can't do anything here. So we just wanted to get away for the day. And I was like, I kind of jokingly said, this camera crew up here to find Governor Pritzker, because he's known to escape the bondages of Illinois himself.
Right. When he's not sending the family down to Florida to the horse farm in Wellington, he's sending them up to he has a big spread in Wisconsin as well, right?
Exactly. Yep.
And he sent some of his workers up to Wisconsin from Illinois, and I guguess they weren't wearing masks either. Now,
I have a problem with that. I can't even get a haircut in my state, but he's sending workers up to his state to improve his multi-million-dollar ranch. I don't besmirch his money or anything like that, but it seems more than hypocritical.
Did your wife want you to go on camera like that, or did she? What did you when you said I'm going to get out of the car?
No.
No. What did she say?
No. She's like, no, don't. Her and my daughter were telling me not to do it. But and again, I didn't go over there to make any trouble. But they kind of, I had no idea that he was going to try to, turn the camera on me. And that's when I was like, hey, okay, I can play that game, back at you.
Do you ever watch MSNBC?
I do, and it's hard to watch. I don't agree with their politics, but I do like to be informed and see where both sides are coming from, and then decide for myself.
Yeah, I was wondering if you knew this. Katie Tur, her old boyfriend was Keith Olbermann. I figure you must know Keith Olbermann. You got to be a little bit of a sports fan, because you're wearing that Packers jersey.
I am a Packers fan, from Illinois, for many, many years. And, I just love, the people up in Wisconsin, the Packers, the whole culture, the organization. I think they're salt of the earth people, hardworking. So I support the Packers, and I do love the Bears still. Right? Walter Payton will always be the greatest football player ever, but
How about did you talk to this guy Cal, the reporter with the mask and his unmasked cameraman and the unmasked producer? Did you talk to them after they threw it back to Katie Tur in New York?
You know what? I did try to engage with them, and they didn't want to have anything to do with it. Actually, I was surprised because I saw the guy kind of throw up his arms, like, that's it, game over. And then, so they shut down, and then I kind of followed them away, and I said, hey, where are you boys from, And they kind of literally walked away kind of with their tails, between their legs. And
you busted their live shot. This is good. TV stations have blooper reels. This is going to go on an MSNBC blooper reel.
Well, you should never, try to, call out people. I don't think that was right. And like I said, it backfired him big time on him, and he has himself to blame. So,
what do you do for work, Andy?
I'm an IT guy, so I'm fortunate enough to work at home. But I do have a wife who works in the entertainment and concert promotion industry, and things are shut down in Illinois and across the country. So she's out of work, and we're feeling it too.
Right. Well, at least this happened in Wisconsin. I mean, JB the Hut Pritzker could be tracking you down, sending the cops after you if it happened in Illinois.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of him. I saw a poll that says like 78% of the people support him here. I don't feel it's accurate at all. No. People are hurting here, and they want to, good hard working people want to go back to work, open up their businesses before everything is totally destroyed. So,
Andy, we really appreciate it, and thanks for making for a great TV moment. We always enjoy them. Everybody does. And hold on. Would you like to get a T-shirt? Buy American, support America. We'll send you. We'll send you one. It's the least we can do. Talk to Grace off the air when we get finished. And thanks again. And that's great. And I hope the Packers' new quarterback does well. You think he's going to replace Aaron Rodgers this year? I don't think so.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. They got to get ready.
To see both. All right. Take care.
Thank you. That's Andy Olson. He busted MSNBC. They were shown to be the hypocrites that they are. That we all knew they are. But it's always nice to have your suspicions, your prejudices, shall we say, confirmed. And this is one of those moments on live TV. I'm Howie Carr.
He didn't come here to be made sport of. Howie Carr.
Face coverings are the new normal, but the kind you use really matters because not all offer the same protection. Boomer Naturals has a highly recommended consumer covering. It's 3 layers of ultra soft and breathable cloth, and it comes in sizes for both adults and children. This cotton polyester blend cloth is made for use up to 30 days when hand washed between uses. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use code HowieCarr20 at checkout and save 20%. Get free shipping and handling on any order over $50.
Don't you hate it when someone shows up unexpectedly at your door? With the Guardline outdoor motion sensor, you'll always know when someone enters your property. Keep tabs on little ones playing in the yard or teens coming home at night. We're always watching, so you can have peace of mind. Go to guardlinesecurity.com/radio and enter the code radio at checkout for $20 off your order. Guardlinesecurity.com/radio. That's guardlinesecurity.com/radio.
Here's Donald Trump Jr. proving once and for all the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
They hate Trump more than they love America. For them to try to take a pandemic and seemingly hope that it comes here and kills millions of people so that they could end Donald Trump's streak of winning. I don't know if this is coronavirus or Trump derangement syndrome, but these people are infected badly. To make this guy into a religious scholar, that's like saying Jeffrey Dahmer is a purveyor of organic and fine exotic meats. Adam Schiff is basically the Jussie Smollett of Congress on steroids. Children are off limits. Remember this one? If 13-year-old Barron Trump is not off limits, Hunter Biden sure as is not off limits. Because my name is Trump, if I took $1.5 from China, not $1.5 billion like Hunter, their heads would explode.
Who is your favorite Democrat? Go ahead.
Mitt Romney, Gail. Mitt Romney's my favorite Democrat. How about that? Please, Lord, in my next life, make me a leftist so I can say anything and get away with it.
The Mother's Day special was a huge success.
Of course it was. A Buy American, Support America t-shirt and a free book for $19.99. Who wouldn't love that deal?
Actually, we've had a few complaints.
From who?
A lot of people forgot that Father's Day comes right after Mother's Day, so now they wish they had bought their dad a gift too.
Oh boy. Okay, we'll run a Father's Day deal too. But then we're done. The prices can't be this low forever.
Go to HowieCarrshow.com and click on the banner to get your dad the perfect gift for only $19.99. Orders over $49.99 get free shipping. Jim Acosta, without a doubt, wins the competition for Trump's least favorite journalist of all time. Let's listen to some of their feistier moments.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
When I raise money, excuse me. I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty. Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, what do you say to your critics who say that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? You think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons, because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news.
This is Jay in Hingham, Massachusetts.
This is Gloria from Haverhill, Mass.
Hi, this is Joe from Howie in the Hills, Florida, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Not every year from the time long as I can remember, since the early 70s, I've gone to the bridge. That's the place where we have a major event every year.
As long as he can remember, back to the early 70s. Really? Okay. Let's have him talking about the stimulus. He keeps screwing up the numbers on the stimulus funding. Yesterday, he was on with Governor Tom Wolf of Pennsylvania, another Pritzker Whitmer-like northeastern Midwestern governor that's totally out of control. And so he's just screwed it all up again. Cut 10.
You know, one of the things that when we were in office and we had the financial meltdown, the president put me in charge of getting out the recovery money, which was it was 80, almost $89 billion. I guess it came to 84 at the end, 84 billion.
He had it right. He was so close. 800. No, that's not way too much.
89. At 84. He went all the way back to the one he screwed up last week. The number he missed it by a factor of 10 almost. It was 800 billion, not 84 billion, Joe. And then the teleprompter went out. He can't handle a teleprompter. He can't handle notes, so he gets all confused. So cut number 8.
Look, one of the things that that I think is really important is that we somehow put that back on. There's somehow that we're in a situation where we work together.
See what I mean about live TV? You know, you have somebody coming and pointing out that your cameraman doesn't have a mask, or the teleprompter goes off.
Boy, he got his improvising skills from his old boss.
Yeah, I know. They always thought, when I was breaking into TV news, they always said, even if you've got a teleprompter, make sure you have hard copy, because the something can go wrong. It's Murphy's Law.
Hey, Howie. Biden, with Joe Biden's record on numbers and how good he is with numbers, he should really be considered a coronavirus expert at this point. I think we should get him working on the models. He's just got
somewhere between 20 people and 500 million people are going to die, according to the latest model. Okay, let's play. And then there's one more. This is the staffer. He's instructing the staffer again to deal with the teleprompter. Cut 9.
Tell me a little bit about how you came up with the way in which you are moving through the opening process.
Well, we started with exactly what you said. It's a big state. We have 67 counties, and they are all very different. So what is good in southeastern Pennsylvania?
What did he say?
He said, "Go back to the top."
Go back. Go back to the top. Does he understand that he's on camera too in these situations?
I think he does. He tries leaning over and kind of whispering to the guy, but he doesn't understand that the camera doesn't cut out just because you need it to.
Well, at least this time, his guest was live and was there. Remember last week he was taking questions from that people had recorded on videotape, and he thought that he could talk to the people who were on videotape and have a conversation with them.
And I bet Tom Wolf is glad he was in another room away from Joe Biden, because it sounds like that room may have stunk up a little bit after this next cut.
Okay.
Or stop work on roads and bridges. So what does the human cost roads and bridges? So
you know, this seems to happen more and more on television, doesn't it?
Have you seen the actual clip?
No, I haven't seen it. No.
Tom Wolf visually reacts to it. His eyes go wide, and he just makes a like, "Did that just happen?" face.
Oh boy. Morgan, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Morgan.
Great.
You there?
Yeah, can you? Hello?
I'm here.
Can you hear me?
We're losing you, Morgan. Paul, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Paul.
Howie Carr, good afternoon. I heard your comments earlier about the integrity of the ballot. I worked for many years for the Boston Election Department.
Yes.
And first and foremost, Howie, we understand city and state government. The election departments around this country are infested with the worst of the worst layabouts. Inept. I don't say every one of them, but most of them. It's where the least of the least, they bury people. I was one of them. As a young kid, I was politically connected, and I ended up in the election department. But my point is this. If you go back to the Boston Election Department in 2006, they were so inept. It wasn't even a matter of them losing ballots or sending more out than they should have. They didn't send out enough ballots. And the Justice Department took us over, or them over. If you recall, the Boston police having to run ballots out.
No, I was thinking, Paul, I was actually thinking about that because, I used to cover City Hall in the old days. And I remember there were like 240 some odd precincts in the city of Boston. And there was a cop assigned to be there from 7 a.m. when the polls opened to 8 o'clock. And then the police officer assigned to each of those 240 precincts would take the box with the ballots and bring it to City Hall, right? And I mean, you have to take some kind of precautions. I mean, even though that's not foolproof, obviously, but you can't just let people, start stealing votes willy-nilly. It's going to lead to disaster.
The chain of command is very intricate. From when the ballots are counted prior to the election and put in ballot boxes, they are they're in the Boston City Hall vault under security, Boston police. And then the day before the election, they are brought to local police stations that cover a precinct in precincts in wards. And from that point on, they are under the auspices of the police, the district that they go to. And then it's the reverse coming back.
I understand.
So, I mean, to think you could let all these ballots go out in the mail when we have this system in place, they should be treated like the national.
Paul, how about one of the proposals being made by Joe Kennedy, Joe Kennedy, who's running for the Senate? He's a congressman. He wanted to send out individual. If you're an unenrolled voter, he wanted to send you out for the primary a Republican ballot, a Democrat ballot, a Green Party ballot. You could just pick what you want. It's insane. Thanks for the call. I'm Howie Carr.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, another minute of Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
But again, don't
you have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
That's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame, except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, I because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln. Not to be presumptuous to put ourselves in those categories, but the Times have found us.
There are plenty of differences between Trump and the Democrats running for 2020. But the main one is Trump's pretty funny. Take a listen.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president. I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay? It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever to grow. I try like hell to hide that bald spot, folks. I work harder. Doesn't look bad. Hey, we're hanging in. I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year because I've destroyed her political career and now I won't get a chance to run against her and I would have loved it. I don't want to knock out all of the good stuff and end up with somebody that's actually got talent. That would be terrible.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Thank you, New England, for supporting Music Drives Us. Since 2006, we have used the power of music to benefit communities throughout the 6 states of New England. During this time, we've proudly supported more than 200 schools and donated upwards of 1,000 instruments. And this year, we're getting ready to donate all over again. Our work is made possible through your continued support of our musical mission. Whether you donated, volunteered at our events, attended our concerts, or engaged with us on social media, thank you. We hope you'll stay tuned with what we have in store for this year because it'll be our best year yet. Visit us at musicdrivesus.org. That's musicdrivesus.org. Or follow us at Music Drives Us on social. Together, we can keep music in our schools.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300. And now, some of my favorite fake Indian cuts of all time.
I'm not going to ask you for your favorite curse word. Actually, I am. Do you have a favorite curse word?
Poop.
Poop? Oh, that's a goody two-shoes favorite curse word if I ever heard one.
Are you kidding? Have you ever seen a woman like me look you straight in the face after you finished some long explanation of something and then just said, poop?
Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
I am not sure what she's talking about as far as a rally with.
It was a rally in Bern, Oregon, is that you have to figure out.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Were you meaning to criticize Vice President Biden for wearing a mask yesterday?
No, Biden can wear a mask. I thought that was fine. I wasn't criticizing him at all. Why would I ever do a thing like that?
Do I detect a note of sarcasm? Are you kidding me? This baby is off the charts.
He's trying to belittle you for wearing a mask.
He's a fool, an absolute fool to talk that way. This macho stuff, presidents are supposed to lead, not engage in folly and be falsely masculine. Come on, Donald. Come on, man. How many push-ups you want to do here, pal? I would like to be able to be back in high school and just have he and I in a room. I hope I've demonstrated I can take a punch. And if I'm on nominee, he's going to understand what punches mean. If you want to check my shape run, let's do push-ups together, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
That Delaware used to be part of Pennsylvania.
That's right, but we declared our independence on December the 7th, by the way. You know, and it's not just D-Day. On December the 7th, it's not just D-Day.
A date which will live in infamy.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Knowing it wouldn't make a difference, he jokingly asked if being married to me might move him up in the queue. He thought it might get a laugh. It didn't. And to be honest, I wasn't laughing either when it was relayed to me. My husband made a failed attempt at humor.
Look, everybody knows I botched the joke.
Unchained and unstoppable.
So are the people there just not worried about it, Cal? Are they not worried about their own personal safety?
I haven't met anybody who is. But you can see, nobody's wearing them. Nobody's...
Including the cameraman.
There you go, including the cameraman. Yeah.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Oh, that was so great talking to that guy, Andy Olson. And he busted him so bad. And you know what they were thinking, you know, when he tried to converse with them, because he just thought, that he hadn't really humiliated them, but they knew they were going to get a scolding, a stern lecture when they got back to the network, back to 30 Rock or wherever the hell they are. They used to be in Fort Lee, I think, but they're not, I don't know. I think they're in Manhattan now, but he busted them so good. They were just, they were virtue signaling. And that's the thing about a mask now. A mask is the way that you show. It's like wearing the old pink, what hats. Remember those? That's what a mask is now. You show that you are a member of the resistance. You're not resisting the cootie, the Wuhan Red Death. You're resisting Donald J. Trump by wearing that mask. That's what it's all about. That. And he busted them. And they were going to catch hell from Phil Griffin or one of those other touchy-feely MSNBC execs. How many of those sexual predators do you think they still have at NBC? There were so many of them, I don't think they cleared them all out. There's still a bunch around. Anyway, time now for the chump line.
Hey, Howie, when that spaceship blasts off, about 30 seconds into the flight,
If the astronauts turn to the left and look over Massachusetts, I think they'll see Governor Baker's self-importance.
Yeah, I like the fact though that he's getting asked every day now about the Holyoke Soldiers Home. You know, that now that they've released all the documents showing that his administration was informed a week before he again claimed yesterday that they weren't informed, and they have the documents to prove it. Baker lied. Veterans died.
When making Biden-style coffee, put in 1 scoop, 10 scoop, 80 scoop, 800 scoops of coffee.
And turn up his favorite Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young song, 40 Dead in Ohio. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week celebrating our system of justice and the rule of law. When laws are circumvented and citizens' rights are abridged, it's the duty of every American to hold those lawbreakers responsible for their actions, no matter what the consequences.
Hey, Karyn Polito, how much money do I have to donate to your campaign to be able to throw a graduation party? How about the wedding? Do you have some kind of price list out there that we can look at?
Back in the old days, when they were selling commutations and pardons, the governor's council, they actually had a rate card, I'm told, this was in the 60s. Don't give her any ideas, man.
Hey, Lieutenant Governor Polito. I hope you had a great party, but I'm really upset I didn't get my invitation. I did, however, get my instructions from your number one fan, Governor Baker, on not opening my 4 restaurants. Thanks a lot for not inviting me. I had tons of time to hang out because, again, you're not allowing me to work. But you go right ahead and have your fun partying, you hypocrite.
Hey, calm down. You don't think they're going to go without a party on the 4th of July, do you? You got 4 restaurants. You can be the caterer. Bring a bartender too, and maybe you can get a special dispensation to open up before the Labor Day weekend.
If you know what state you're in, you ain't Joe Biden.
I like the fact that he said he can't remember anything back beyond the early 70s. So how does he remember being the lifeguard at the swimming pool and the kids rubbing his legs? How does he remember the confrontation with Corn Pop? How does he remember being the first white student at Delaware State or playing Division I football at the University of Delaware? How does he remember any of that stuff? How does he remember President Roosevelt's fireside chats on the TV in 1929 before he was president?
I don't remember.
Before he was president and before there was television. Joe Biden remembers it, though.
The fact is that I don't remember.
Go ahead.
Hi, Howie. Governor Patrick calling. Wow, you're really peeved about pay-to-play Polito's party. Let me guess. You're upset because you weren't invited to go. Must have felt like prom in the Ivy League all over again. We're going to be fine.
I don't like being lectured under any circumstances, Governor Small of all. But I particularly dislike being lectured by somebody who's doing exactly the opposite of what she's ordering me to do, if you know what I mean. And I think that's why the story had such legs, as we say in the biz.
Don't faze me, bro. Don't faze me, bro. Ah!
Phase? You meaning phase 2?
Like the phase reopenings. Yeah.
Okay, phase 1, phase 2. Yeah. We have some bad news from Maine, from southern Maine today, too, by the way, speaking of phases.
You want a push-up contest? I'll beat you at push-ups like we beat the Germans after they bombed Pearl Harbor.
How would you like to give Joe Biden a pop quiz on history or geography, or come to think of it, anything? How do you think he'd do? not well.
He'd think it was a quiz about soda.
Where's my tapioca pudding? Someone promised me some tapioca pudding if I went on with that governor with the beard.
Boy, I used to love getting pops down at the soda fountain. We'd play jacks outside.
Jacks. I never understood jacks. I always thought, what a lame game this is. Not that there were a lot of people playing it because it was so lame.
I used to have a lot of marbles. Lost them all now.
That's a good line, Taylor. That's a real good line.
Polito should have got advice from the fake Indian. You don't throw your family under the bus until they're dead.
Yeah, but I think her brother kind of owes her. You know, the brother runs the family construction business, and you may recall what the first industry that was allowed to reopen in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts was. That self-same construction industry that the Polito family is involved in. Not for nothing do they call her pay to play.
If somebody tells Joe Biden that he should work on models, he'll really take it the wrong way.
He's got that old man laugh. That sort of like, I've been out here on this porch long enough. Can someone lead me back to the room for the early bird special?
If somebody tells
Joe Biden finally came out of his Delaware den, saw his shadow, and ran right back. Hey, predicting 4 more years of Trump.
I hope that's what it means. It definitely means, though, I said in my column the other day, 6 more weeks of Gaffapalooza, and we've proven that today with the Tom Wolfe interview.
That was your last chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
All right, that's it for the Chump Line today. The Chump Line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message at any hour of the day or night, including weekends. The Chump Line number, if you'd like to leave such a message, 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump Line. Leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time. Each weekday, if you didn't hear your message today or you just want to hear a bunch more, at 7 o'clock, we post Chopped Chumps, the messages that didn't make it on the broadcast version of the Chump Line. Get it wherever you get your Howie Carr podcast. Chopped Chumps, available at 7 p.m. Eastern every evening. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week celebrating our system of justice and the rule of law. When laws are circumvented and citizens' rights are abridged, it's the duty of every American to hold those lawbreakers responsible for their actions, no matter what the consequences.
Hey, Karyn Polito, how much money do I have to donate to your campaign to be able to throw a graduation party? How about the wedding? Do you have some kind of price list out there that we could look at?
How about a price list so you don't have to have a wedding and save a lot of money? I'm speaking from personal experience there. Well, I'm not, I'm sorry that we're not going to have a full-scale wedding in the Carr family, but it will save me a few bucks. So there is a silver lining to this very, very dark cloud. I'm Howie Carr.
The Howie Carr Show.
Hey, Howie.
Yes.
I think tonight maybe I'll try to make a fake one sheet of Polito's campaign contribution services.
That would be great. Yeah, that would be good. We could post that. That'd be nice to tweet out. The pay to play.
You can email me if you have any suggestions.
I'll think of some. Yeah.
.com. CapeGunworks.com.
At Subaru of New England, we're proud to be more than a car company. During these trying times, our nation's food banks are overwhelmed and in short supply. So Subaru and its retailers are partnering with Feeding America. Through Subaru Loves to Help, we're donating 50 million meals nationwide, 5 million of which will help right here in New England. Details at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
Cory Booker said it best.
Taylor.
Definitely moments where you listen to Joe Biden.
That cut 17, is that from today, Baker, on what he knew about Holyoke?
Yes.
Okay, I'll save that for the 6.
Yeah, he's very vague, and then he says, everything's really back and forth right now, so I'm just going to wait till the investigation's over.
Oddly, the day before, he was very precise. Is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security.
No, Howie, I don't have any cuts of Baker saying when he.
Okay, that's all right.
See if Grace can look for something. When do you think he said that he knew about it?
I'm going to check. I logged some stuff earlier, and it's on my desk. I would send McKay in, but he wouldn't be able to find it. I know where the log notes are. I'll just see if I can find it. I probably can't, but I'll take a look at the next break.
Okay.
On about the
Hi, my name's Jane Lucas, and I am from the town of South China, Maine.
This is Al from Merrimack, New Hampshire.
Hi, I'm Angela from Brewster on the Cape, and this is the one and the only Howie Carr Show.
Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company that I trust. Give them a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Should Congress reapprove the reauthorization of the secret FISA courts?
No, they shouldn't. Those courts should be abolished.
92% say no.
Yeah. The founding fathers never would have permitted them in the first place because they knew the fallibility of human beings, that they couldn't be trusted. This is why you need a system of checks and balances. You don't need any of these ex parte proceedings, as they call them. That means there's nobody on the other side. What could possibly go wrong with an ex parte proceeding, especially when you have people like Strzok and Page and McCabe and Comey and Clapper and Brennan? Very, very ethical, honest, law-abiding citizens who have a rather high opinion of their own morality, as opposed to you and me, because they can smell us in Walmart, as Strzok so famously said. Anyway, the death toll in Maine from the Wuhan Red Death is 81. 81. So today, Janet Mills announced that she will not, after all, allow restaurants in Cumberland, York, and Androscoggin, those are the southernmost counties in Maine, to fully reopen on June 1st. They will instead be restricted to outdoor service, takeout, and delivery only, opposed to being fully able to reopen for dine-in customers like the rest of the state. So these are York and Cumberland especially are the big population areas. That's the places I'm familiar with, the counties I'm familiar with. And they were supposed to open up, and they've had 2 more deaths. And I guess she's decided she's going to cut it down. They will decide in the future when they're going to allow these restaurants to open up. I mean, how do they hang on? They were counting on this. They were counting on having in dining service, and now she's just decided she's just going to postpone it indefinitely. I mean, the summer is here. What are they supposed to do? 844-500-4242. I feel bad for everybody I know in all those counties. And again, that's York, Cumberland. Cumberland is Portland, everything south, and Androscoggin is Lewiston, Auburn, that area. Arthur, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Arthur.
I think you remember way back when, Howie, when Elizabeth Warren's daughter wanted to register welfare voters, and so they sent out a mailing with a self-addressed stamp envelope.
I remember it well.
And
yes.
20,000 came back. 20,000 came back because no one had the address, and that's 20,000 that they let us know about.
I think it was more than that, Arthur. Actually,
go wrong with mail-ins?
Yeah. I know. Someone just texted me and said, if you believe that mail-in voting is safe, you should start paying all your bills, use mail, U.S. mail, and pay them in cash and see how it goes. I mean, this is ridiculous.
How could
Go ahead.
How could the people of Maine have a governor like Paul LePage and then elect somebody like this woman?
I don't know, Arthur. They weren't paying attention, obviously. Again, with one of the very few prescient observations Barack Obama ever made was elections have consequences. And this is what they're seeing. Elections have consequences. I mean, all these restaurants in these 3 counties, all these business, especially the restaurants, though, I guess that's the ones that are mainly affected. They've been hanging on by their fingernails and just thinking, if only I can get to June 1, she's going to let me open up. She's going to let me open up. And now she says, no, I'm not. we're not going to let you open the dining rooms. I mean, what do they do? How do they live? How do they wake up in the morning? Not their fates are in the hands of this ancient, wrinkly septuagenarian woman who has no conception of anything. And again, I'm sorry, 81 people are dead in Maine, but there's over 1 million people. There's 1.3 million people in Maine. 81 of them have died, mostly in nursing homes, I dare say. And these restaurants are going to be put out of business. I'm Howie Carr. Whether you're working from home or working on your fitness, you want what you're listening to be what you're listening to, not what your roommates or family are listening to. Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycons start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was co-founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/Howie. And now, some of my favorite fake Indian cuts of all time.
I'm not going to ask you for your favorite curse word. Actually, I am. Do you have a favorite curse word? Poop. Poop? Oh, that's a goody two-shoes favorite curse word if I ever heard one.
Are you kidding? Have you ever seen a woman like me look you straight in the face after you finished some long explanation of something and then just said, poop? Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
I am not sure what she's talking about as far as a rally with.
It was a rally in Bern, ordered is that you have to figure out who you are. I grew up in a family that was barely hanging on to the ragged edge of the middle class. And my Aunt B has walked by that picture at least 1,000 times, remarked that her father, my papa, had high cheekbones like all of the Indians did.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases, people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth, or your teeth are discolored, or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
Brace yourself, guys. Here is 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable.
That they wanted their voices to be heard.
I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words. That's not the total package, but there are some of the major points of discussion, I would hope, from sea to shining sea, because they are not getting paid 163 Republicans voted no. Wisdom from the kitchen of the Willard Hotel, yes, ma'am. The president either doesn't know what he's talking about or doesn't want to know what he's talking about.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying.
Hitler was a Christian.
Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman.
Did you have tanning lotion on?
A little. I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor.
Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape.
I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not sure.
It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
Hold up.
We're going to do hate mail.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. Is it time for Hate Mail Monday?
It is time to let the hate flow through you.
Let the hate flow through you.
This Wednesday is just jam-packed full of fun.
Yes, it is. We're a little late in the week, as we sometimes are, with Hate Mail Monday, but it's time, and now we check in with all of our fan mail in whatever form of mail it comes in.
Yes, our fandom is big, and they are angry. And they are especially angry, as always, with Howard Lawrence Carr. It does not matter if hate mail is on a Monday, a Tuesday, or a Wednesday. It is always brought to you by Piantadosi Baking Company, celebrating over 100 years of baking excellence since 1916. Let's dive right in, Howie. You tweeted a photo. Actually, you know what? No, scratch that. We're going to start with the most recent hate mail because I think you'll have some comments on it. Taylor, can I have the hate mail about Howie's attire, please?
Howie, today is Wednesday, and that is the ugliest tie I've ever seen.
A rebuttal, good sir. I figured we'd start with something fresh.
I was looking in my drawer, and speaking of something fresh, I was looking for something I hadn't worn for a while. So
that is not a denial. You are not defending your tie. You're just saying that you hadn't worn it in a while.
I didn't think it was a particularly terrible tie.
I liked it. Nice olive green.
It wasn't
he
bad.
didn't think it was a particularly terrible tie. That is an endorsement for that tie, man. All right, now
a tie is a tie. You know, it's
true.
Some people, whatever tie you
tie.
wear, somebody's going to like it. Somebody's not going to like it.
Howie, you've worn some doozies, but that one was very muted.
Howie thinks the tie is in the eye of the beholder.
I do.
Is
exactly.
what he's saying. Okay, so Howie, you tweeted out a photo. And the thing about hate mail is sometimes I run a little bit low on it. And then I remember that Howie's in Florida and Florida is free America. So Howie's been tweeting out photos of him at restaurants. And when Howie tweets out photos of himself at restaurants, guess what happens? A lot of Karens come out of the woodwork. Okay?
They're bitter. I'm sorry. You're behind the Iron Curtain.
Twisted, Howie. They are bitter, twisted. Let's start with this one from Duncan Cliff. I remember when Howie used to rail against the elitists from the People's Republic of Cambridge. Now he is associating with the elitists from Mar-a-Lago. The difference is the level of intelligence.
Mar-a-Lago!
I wasn't associating with elitists. I went to Mar-a-Lago with the mailroom manager and my daughter Charlotte, and it wasn't like I was in the main building. That's closed. I was at the beach club.
And Howie, let's describe the photo that you took. You're looking at the camera with a smile on your face, and you kind of have your head almost in your arms, and you're just kind of grimacing at the camera.
It was a very bleep-eating grin.
Yes.
You know, there's a guy works in my building from South Boston, Grace, and I walked out today, and he said, "Nice day," and I said, "Anything's better than Massachusetts," and he said, "Are you going back anytime soon?" And I looked at him and I said, when in the old days in the Cold War, when you got over the Berlin Wall, how often did anybody go back to East Germany?
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. Massachusetts is East Germany right now.
As far as weather, though, I think it was nicer here today than it was where you are.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was there's thunderstorms off and on here. That's why they canceled the SpaceX.
We hit 87 degrees and sunshine all day.
Woohoo! I'm gonna go to a restaurant and enjoy a drink outside. Oh wait, forgot about that.
Very
no,
fake news.
but I have to say the weather has been absolutely beautiful, which is great.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Maybe someday
the
restaurants will be open again.
We can only hope. Okay, but that's not the only remark you got on your Mar-a-Lago picture. Another person says, "You complete fraud." Mar-a-Lago Howie soaking up the sun, taking cheap shots at mass while he is on the dole with the most corrupt president in America history. You endorsement of Donnie has done nothing. You're on the wrong side of history. Keep in mind, your is spelled Y-O-U-R. You're on the wrong side of history. I just like to point out those small things because they add so much to the hate.
I'm glad to know I was eating on the arm. I could have sworn I got a bill.
I know a lot about you, Howie. I did not know you were on the dole. It's good to know. Another person says, does no one see the bleeping grift Howie is playing on all of you rubes?
Rubes. Did you notice you credulous boomer rubes?
Okay, now I have the best comment about your Mar-a-Lago picture coming up. But first, I wanted to play another hate mail, Howie. And this one is from Granny. And I just want to preface this by saying, Granny, we are not blocking your messages. Don't ever think that. They are getting through. Go ahead, Taylor.
I know I'm blocked a
yourself anyway, all of you Republicans. Go yourself. I feel so much better. Thank you. Bye. Have a lovely day.
Granny, stay inside. You're in that vulnerable age group, 90 plus.
Howie. First of all, I just don't get when people say, I know you're not going to play this, or I know I'm blocked. You're not blocked. You are my content. You are driving this segment into what it should be. So here's the other comment, Howie, and I want you to know that this person is Meezer M, and they wrote, Mar-a-Lago Beach Club is open. Having a nice, this is what you wrote, having a nice weekend in free America. This person wrote, President Plump, a.k.a. Plump Trump. I hope you had one hell of a weekend in free America, you bleep. Meanwhile, you may have infected countless innocent people, all because you are a bleep. I never thought I'd wish COVID-19 on anyone, but after seeing your tweet, ... As Adam Schiff would say, you can read between the lines on that one.
You know what, Grace? I have a feeling he's wished COVID-19 on many, many people here in the last couple of months.
I know. Because if you have to write that, I never thought I would wish this on someone, you've probably written that out before. It's
right.
You never catch them on the first go round.
Incidentally, Grace, I just got a text here from 860. Grace, right over the border in Enfield, Connecticut, off the west coast of Massachusetts, bars and pubs open. Come on down.
If they can make a Cosmo, I am there. Might be time for a little road trip for my birthday.
How about mojitos? That's what Karyn Polito likes to serve at the DACA. Mojito Polito in the Polito borough.
I've been getting that a lot on the chump line this last week. No, I'm not a mojito girl as much. They're just not sweet enough for me. Another person says, Howie is in desperation mode. The good ship Trump is going down, and soon the rats will be jumping ship. That's a popular imagery used in hate mail, is the rats jumping ship.
That tweet, I thought most people liked it. That tweet got over 3,000 likes, but apparently a lot of people really didn't like it a lot, did they?
Yeah, well, I mean, it got 3,000 likes. It's just the comments that really can drag you down. Howie, you're not the only one who gets hate. I also get a lot of hate, and one of our favorite haters is the guy who refers to me as Balloon Head. And I just want everyone to know, there's no bigger fans of Grace Curley than my parents, and they're usually very defensive when I get hate. And my dad said to me this past weekend, that guy who calls in and leaves the Balloon Head messages, he's pretty funny, huh? And I thought, what? No, he's not funny. He's a hater, but he is pretty funny. So I want to play this one first because it seems as though he has actually begun to like me a bit.
I hear it. Balloonhead, you didn't do that bad of a job today. I mean, there's a lot of that I could put on you right now, but you didn't do that bad of a job. Not bad.
So I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, he likes me. Balloon Head guy really likes me. And then the next day I received this message.
I hear a Balloon Head talking about food shopping Monday. She doesn't go to the supermarket. She goes to the stupid market.
It was short-lived, but for a little while, he was a fan of mine. Howie, another person wrote in, you posted a video of Joe Biden saying he was going to beat Joe Biden. And obviously that was a real video. We've played it several times in the show.
It was on CNBC.
This person says, who is Howie Carr and why is he posting edited videos of Biden appearing to say he'll beat himself? Talk about fake news. This guy should be fired or prohibited from using your paper's name to post anything ever.
What the hell is he talking about? He really doesn't believe that Joe Biden said, I'm going to beat Joe Biden?
I think they like to say videos now are edited. It's their easiest way of saying something is, if they want to argue with something, they'll just go, oh, that was edited. That was photoshopped.
I'm prepared to say that I have a record of over 40 years and that I'm going to beat Joe Biden.
I like the way he says that. 40 years.
I noticed that too. Howie, this might be the best hate mail. So you tweet out almost daily. You tweet out the death count. Ugh, such a cringy laugh. You tweet out the death count in Massachusetts, and
Yes.
you usually say at the end, for this, Governor Charlie Parker has destroyed Massachusetts' economy and cost more than, fill in the blank amount of jobs.
Right.
Now, you call him Charlie Parker because Joe Biden accidentally called him Charlie Parker. Most people who have followed the show or followed politics know that.
Right. Right. A lot of people now are calling him Charlie Parker, I've noticed on other sites. He's routinely referred to by his critics as Charlie Parker.
This man did not realize that. And this is what he had to say on Twitter. Howie Carr, the original fake news guy of Boston, needs to be shut up for good if he doesn't know the name of his own governor.
Does that go for this guy's candidate for president?
I mean, it's just, if you don't know Charlie Parker at this point, you clearly don't listen to the show or the news.
We can put politics aside and meet the moment like governors all across this nation are doing. Governor Mike DeWine in Ohio, Governor Larry Hogan in Maryland, Governor Charlie Parker in Massachusetts.
It explains so much.
And his
guys,
lieutenant governor, Bird, Lester Young, Bird.
Thank you for listening to Hate Mail Monday on a Wednesday, brought to you by Piantadosi Baking Company, celebrating over 100 years of baking excellence since 1916.
Grace, as long as you're here, did you see the latest story on Karyn, Central Park Karyn?
Oh, no. But I did get a call and a woman wanted me to issue a correction because apparently this guy threatened the woman's dog and I didn't give the full story. And I do apologize if I didn't give the woman a fair shake.
Amy Cooper's her name. She once filed a lawsuit against her ex-boyfriend claiming that he bilked her out of $65,000.
Yeah.
She was with this guy. He was married, a Wall Street trader from 2008 to 2012. And then she broke up with him. And then in 2013, he said, I'm breaking up with my wife permanently, but I need some money to get me over the hump. And she gave him $65,000.
What?
And then she got a text from his new girlfriend and said, we're getting married, by the way, and get lost. And she was out $65,000. So she hasn't really had a great life, I would say. I'm not defending her.
What artist that man is. I mean, geez Louise, if you're having an affair with a married man, which people should not do anyway, and then you're the one giving the money in that relationship, no. That is so reversed, Amy.
In September 2014, after Priest, that's the trader, the Wall Street guy's divorce was finalized, Karyn got a text message from his girlfriend who said she and Priest were living together and planning to marry. The girlfriend also allegedly told Karyn that Priest's claims of abuse and intent to be with Cooper were false. He and the girlfriend got married the following month and were soon living with their infant son in New Jersey.
That is actually such a sad story for this woman. I understand now why she's a little bit high strung.
And now she gave the dog back. This was a rescue dog, and after this whole thing happened, she took it back to the pound.
And I guess she lost her job too. I'm not really for this cancel culture that we live in, where if people pull out their phones and record people and then their entire lives shatter before our eyes. It doesn't seem like a good idea to me. And this just goes to show you, everyone has a story, even all the Karens out there. They have something going on in their lives.
This is probably the worst thing that's happened to anyone who's a Karen this week in America. Wouldn't you say?
100%. I mean, whenever someone's recording someone, Howie, on a phone, I just wish people would stop doing that. Like, you can have an argument.
Wait a second. We wouldn't have had that great segment last hour with Andy Olson.
Andy Olson's way different. That was a camera crew. They knew what they were doing. I'm just saying, if you get into an argument with someone at a Dunkin' Donuts or out in the street or whatever, I just wish people could have their argument person to person and then move on. I don't understand this. Oh, I'm going to whip out my phone and then I'm going to blast you on Twitter and then you're going to lose your job. It's very Black Mirror to me.
I'm sure she's feeling better now that there's another story about her in the New York Post.
I know.
About how she got scammed.
Nightmare? It starts to die down, and the New York Post is like, hold on a second. We found out something else about this woman. Oh, the poor thing.
All right. We're going to take a break. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Moby Dick's on Route 6 in Wellfleet. Don't let the lines deter you. It's worth the wait. From seafood gumbo to lobster rolls, Moby Dick's has it all. Face coverings are the new normal, but the kind you use really matters because not all offer the same protection. Boomer Naturals has a highly recommended consumer covering. It's 3 layers of ultra soft and breathable cloth, and it comes in sizes for both adults and children. This cotton polyester blend cloth is made for use up to 30 days when hand washed between uses. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use code HowieCarr20 at checkout and save 20%. Get free shipping and handling on any order over $50.
The Mother's Day special was a huge success.
Of course it was. A Buy American, Support America t-shirt and a free book for $19.99. Who wouldn't love that deal?
Actually, we've had a few complaints.
From who?
A lot of people forgot that Father's Day comes right after Mother's Day, so now they wish they had bought their dad a gift too.
Oh boy. Okay, we'll run a Father's Day deal too. But then we're done. The prices can't be this low forever.
Go to HowieCarrshow.com and click on the banner to get your dad the perfect gift for only $19.99. Orders over $49.99 get free shipping. Jim Acosta, without a doubt, wins the competition for Trump's least favorite journalist of all time. Let's listen to some of their feistier moments.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
When I raise money,
excuse me. I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, what do you say to your critics who say that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? You think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons, because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how it worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. You know, as a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com. The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian.
The Cambridge police acted stupidly.
And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton.
There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book.
I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper.
If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke.
A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
This is Alex from East Bridgewater, Mass.
This is Ann in Saco, Maine.
This is John Succo from Hanson, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
And as a governor, you and your colleagues are leading. Proud to be joined by you today, Tom, to discuss the coronavirus and how it's impacting your state.
You're whatever you're in. It's a good thing that the health commissioner, Dr. Levine, didn't show up. Joe might have gotten very confused if he'd seen Dr. Rachel, formerly Richard Levine. 413 says, in Maryland and Howard County, there's an executive order saying there isn't to be any consuming of food or drink, even if it's part of a religious service. So essentially no communion for Catholics or any high church Lutherans or Episcopalians. These people are getting ridiculous. That was in the Catholic News Agency. They sure are. Someone wants to know, is Governor Mills going to reimburse the restaurants that were planning on, that were already laying in stocks of food for the reopening, that now they can't indefinitely in those 3 counties? Then somebody else is saying, I'm glad that those 3 counties are getting screwed by Warden Mills, because they're the ones who put her into office. If it had been the other, 12, 13 counties in the state, that Sean Moody, the Republican, would be governor, and this wouldn't be going on. I don't think this is a time to turn on one another in an emergency. What one of our founding fathers said, we must all hang together, or we will most assuredly all hang separately. You know, everybody's got to band together. This is an emergency here, what's going on. And it's just, I don't know the answer in some of these cases. I feel terrible for these restaurants. You know, there's no need for this. What the hell are they thinking of? We'll take a lot of calls in the next hour. We have some other news to catch up on. Local news. I'm Howie Carr. We all shop online, and now you can do it a better way with Honey. Honey is the free online shopping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes and applies them to your cart. Just download Honey to your computer and shop on all your favorite websites like normal. When you check out, just click the Apply Coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Honey works on nearly every online store, including Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Macy's, Etsy, and more. And Honey has found over $2 billion in savings for its users. That's why it has over 100,000 5-star reviews on the Google Chrome store. It's 100% free to use and installs in seconds. Plus, it's backed by PayPal, so you know it's secure and reliable. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. So get Honey for free today at joinhoney.com/Howie. That's joinhoney.com/Howie.
There are plenty of differences between Trump and the Democrats running for 2020, but the main one is Trump's pretty funny. Take a listen.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump, knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president. I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay? It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst. Other countries, big countries, India and others, we had to pay because they considered them a growing country. They were a growing country. So what are we? Are we allowed to grow too? Okay. So are we allowed to grow?
I try like hell to hide that bald spot, folks. I work harder. Doesn't look bad. Hey, we're hanging in.
I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year because I've destroyed her political career and now I won't get a chance to run against her, and I would have loved it. I don't want to knock out all of the good stuff and end up with somebody that's actually got talent. That would be terrible.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
I'm sorry, someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
The Mother's Day special was a huge success.
Of course it was. A Buy American, Support America t-shirt and a free book for $19.99. Who wouldn't love that deal?
Actually, we've had a few complaints.
From who?
A lot of people forgot that Father's Day comes right after Mother's Day, so now they wish they had bought their dad a gift too.
Oh boy. Okay, we'll run a Father's Day deal too. But then we're done. The prices can't be this low forever.
Go to HowieCarrshow.com and click on the banner to get your dad the perfect gift for only $19.99. Orders over $49.99 get free shipping. Remember the boy who cried wolf? I call this one the press that cried Hitler.
The president is not only racist, he's a bigot, but he is completely un-American. He is behaving like a fascist.
This is the president once again just thumping his chest and acting like he is the dictator that I think he wants to be.
President of the United States is a wannabe dictator with authoritarian tendencies.
This is exactly what authoritarians do. This is what strongmen do. This is what happens in authoritarian regimes.
We have a president with a strong authoritarian personality.
Like a dictator from another nation.
People that grew up in authoritarian regimes, seeing echoes of that in President Trump. He likes these figures like Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un.
This is more the actions of a dictator.
He totally wants to be a dictator. It's so obvious.
Much like Hitler took over the Nazi Party, Trump has taken over the Republican Party.
He went full Hitler.
Trump is as destructive a person in this century as Hitler, Stalin, and Mao were in the last century.
It's simply a Stalinist phrase, for God's sake.
He sounded not like a president of the United States. He actually sounded like Saddam Hussein.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying. Hitler was a Christian. Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman.
You have tanning lotion on,
A little, I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor.
Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape.
I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not sure.
It was something. It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
Oh, no.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
You might hear a lot about Bernie, Biden, and Elizabeth Warren, but what about the lightweights who are running for president? Here's a best of the B team.
I've listened to some of my colleagues, Mr. Glover, tell you how much they like your movies. And I have to say, we didn't come here to talk about your movies. We came here to talk about your activism. I like your activism. I also like your movies, but I want to give you a chance because I haven't heard the other side other than tell you that they like they like your movies.
I think the NRA is the worst organization in this country for doing exactly that. They care more about the profits than the American people.
I learned a long time ago about polling. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. I mean, right now, I got nowhere to go but up.
Millions living in the shadows, working some of the toughest jobs, kept in modern day bondage.
People commit crime. Crime happens.
I have won every single congressional district in my state, including Michelle Bachmann's. Okay? That's when you guys are supposed to cheer.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
The coronavirus has made our lives unpredictable, but one thing you can always count on, the White House press corps will always ask President Trump ridiculous questions.
Question, Mr. President, should Americans have to decide between staying healthy and going back to work?
Hey, I was just checking on oil again today. I was wondering.
Oil?
Yeah.
Where is it today?
Well, I was wondering if you...
No, where's the price? Give me the price.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
How can you ask a question when you don't know the price?
I'll look it up for you.
Okay, let me do something else. When you say the Americans were scared, though, I guess nearly 200 dead, 14,000 who are sick, millions, as you witnessed, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
Well, where did he come from, the Inspector General? What's his name?
It came from the Inspector General
what's his name?
report. I don't know his name.
Some of your allies have been bashing these doctors. Would you tell them to cut it out?
Today you tweeted the invisible enemy will soon be in full retreat. Given it's invisible without the testing, how would you know?
With all the uncertainty in the world, feeling safe at home has never been more important. It's why I want to talk to you about Simply Safe Home Security. They're longtime friends.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Were you meaning to criticize Vice President Biden for wearing a mask yesterday?
No, Biden can wear a mask. I thought that was fine. I wasn't criticizing him at all. Why would I ever do a thing like that?
Do I detect a note of sarcasm?
Are you kidding me? This baby is off the charts.
He's trying to belittle you for wearing a mask.
He's a fool, an absolute fool to talk that way. This macho stuff, presidents are supposed to lead, not engage in folly and be falsely masculine. Come on, Donald. Come on, man. How many push-ups you want to do here, pal? I would like to be able to be back in high school and just have he and I in a room. I hope I've demonstrated I can take a punch. And if I'm unnominated, he's going to understand what punches mean. And you want to check my shape on? Let's do push-ups together, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
That Delaware used to be part of Pennsylvania.
That's right, but we declared our independence on December the 7th, by the way. You know, and it's not just D-Day. December the 7th is not just D-Day.
A date which will live in infamy.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Knowing it wouldn't make a difference, he jokingly asked if being married to me might move him up in the queue. He thought it might get a laugh. It didn't. And to be honest, I wasn't laughing either when it was relayed to me. My husband made a failed attempt at humor.
Look, everybody knows I botched a joke.
Unchained and unstoppable.
So are the people there just not worried about it, Cal? Are they not worried about their own personal safety?
I haven't met anybody who is. You can see, nobody's wearing them. Nobody's...
Including the cameraman.
There you go, including the cameraman. Yeah.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. We got a lot of stuff to get to, and we'll take some calls this hour. And I wanted to place just a couple more of these Biden cuts. I haven't even heard this one. I look at Taylor's description. Biden seems extra sleepy with Tom Wolf. I don't know how we can tell that on an audio, but I'm assuming we can, right, Taylor?
It was. I did play it last hour, but you'll get more context for that description.
Okay.
And as a governor, you and your colleagues are leading. Proud to be joined by you today, Tom, to discuss the coronavirus and how it's impacting your state.
Your state?
I mean, is that the enthusiasm you'd want if you're being introduced by the presumptive Democrat nominee president?
No. Whoever I'm interviewing, I try to put a little more oomph into it, right? I mean, that's the least you owe your audience and your subject, right? Anyway, this is a funny one. This is in the intro, but you got to understand this one. Joe Biden totally bollockses up all the dates. I didn't even realize this, but Delaware originally seceded or left Pennsylvania on what date, Taylor?
June 15th, 1776.
June 15th, not December 7th. But so listen to it in that context. Cut 7.
I want to remind you that Delaware used to be part of Pennsylvania.
That's right, but we declared our independence on December the 7th, by the way. And it's not just D-Day. Anyway.
He's the only man I know that could confuse 3 dates in one.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Who was it? I think Johnny Carson used to say, or somebody used to say, Ed Sullivan is the only guy that can count to 3 and get 2 of the numbers wrong. Well, meet Joe Biden.
Let's play the one. This was from last night, and I think it's going to be in the Morning Minute tomorrow. But this is one where there's a very lengthy pause. And I wasn't sure last night. It was almost to the point where I was going to say, did something go wrong on the tape or did we lose the feed or something? But no, it was just Joe taking a break here. Cut 4.
The president is trying to paint a picture of you as somebody who's too old to be president and that you're missing a step. How are you going to combat that? Watch me.
Look, I mean, talk about a guy who's missing a step. He's missing something, man. I don't want to get down into giving him nicknames, but this is a fellow who looks like he's having trouble controlling his own emotions.
You don't want to give him a nickname. Didn't he give him a nickname last week, Tweety? Wasn't that his nickname for him? Maybe he's forgotten that, too. Maybe he thinks that was back in the 70s.
Why have they failed to get this money out to the folks who desperately need it to stay afloat? Is it incompetence? Corruption? Trump was out there tweeting again this morning. I call him President Tweety.
I'm not going to give him a nickname. President Tweety. I'm not going to give President Tweety a nickname. 844-500-4242. Someone says they're eating in the parking lot at Ken's place in Scarborough, Maine. That's in, I don't know if it's in, I think it's Cumberland County, but it's either York or Cumberland. And they says the place is packed. I mean, Dave Wilcox, who owns it, he's a friend of ours, and we love Ken's place. And I've been going there my entire life. Oh, I love it. But he's in better shape because he's got the huge parking lot. He's got the outdoor tables. But I can remember when I was a kid, he didn't have any indoor dining, and he would love to have that open again on June 1st. I mean, this is so bad. And I know some people are still texting me and saying, they think it's good comeuppance for all the people in Cumberland and York counties, especially, and I guess Androscoggin, but mainly Cumberland and York, who voted for Janet Mills. But do you think that the people who voted for Janet Mills in those counties are going to suffer as much as the people who didn't vote for Janet Mills, the people who actually have jobs in these restaurants? I'm thinking they probably were less likely to be voting for Janet Mills. The people who voted for Janet Mills are the people with trust funds, who work for nonprofits, who moved up because they couldn't afford the Brooklyn or the South Boston rents, and they live in the hipster district in Portland. Anyway, 844-500-4242. Just want to give you a little news. There's some interesting crime news that we've been kind of overlooking. State police. This story is actually on some of the national wires. Man walks away from over $130,000 in cash at Logan Airport after questioning. A missed flight, suspicious destination, and changing amounts of U.S. currency led a would-be passenger walking away from more than $130,000 in cash at Logan Airport over the weekend. This passenger, unnamed, booked a flight at Logan for a destination unnamed, known as a source area for illegal narcotics. He missed the flight and then booked a new one, and so he's putting his luggage through the security gate. And they noticed there's a lot of cash. kind of a Whitey Bulger situation when he was going to Montreal, right? When questioned by TSA, the passenger claimed he was carrying about $1,500. Could I have the buzzer, please, Taylor? $1,500? That amount changed when Mass State Police troopers were brought in to investigate. Then he said he had between $40,000 and $50,000. When detectives were brought in, he changed the amount again to somewhere between $80,000 and $85,000. The final currency count, $138,980. You know who figured it out? Canine Officer Duke, who appears to be a bloodhound from the picture. He was alerted to the odor of narcotics on the man's belongings.
A beautiful dog, a talented dog.
God bless Duke. Rather than sign a receipt for the money so it could possibly be reclaimed later, yeah, right. State police say the man left the building and walked away. That was the one smart move he made all day. Here's another one. This is out on the Turnpike in Charlton.
I'm betting he's glad they didn't release his name.
I'm
sure the person who's looking for money knows who he is, but
Taylor, how many names do you think that guy had?
I'm going to say at least 4, right. 2 of them hyphenated.
Right. How many EBT cards do you think he had? At least probably 2 or 3. Speaking of which, the FBI seized 30 kilos of cocaine following a traffic stop of a tractor trailer Sunday in Charlton, according to court documents. State police troopers arrested Javier Robledo Perez of Dallas, Texas. I don't think he knows my daughter. After they found about 30 brick-shaped objects wrapped in black plastic in the truck's cab, court documents said. They pulled a tractor trailer with Texas registration at the Charlton Service Plaza on Mass Turnpike after the truck was being driven erratically. 30 kilos. So that's the police news update here for the time being. 844-500-4242. When we come back, we'll take some calls. We have an amazing letter from the chairman of the Massachusetts Republican Party, and he demands, or the entire committee demands, that the state be reopened, and it's pretty interesting stuff. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
They call him the trash man, but we'll call him Captain Howie Carr.
If you're that listener who has always wanted more hair but are afraid of a full hair restoration, then today is your lucky day. DiStefano Hair Restoration is now offering a non-surgical laser cap solution for less than $3,000. This package comes with a year's supply of 2 medications to support the growth of your hair. DiStefano Hair Restoration continues to discount full hair transplants too. To learn more about both packages, go to hairman.com/Howie. You may have more time on your hands now, so take advantage of it and get the hair you've been wanting for years. I know Dr. Highness did such a great job for me, and he will do it for you too. People always stop me and say it looks so natural. To take advantage of either of these offers, go to hairman.com/Howie. You'll never see these kinds of discounts again. That's hairman.com/Howie. DiStefano Hair Restoration has 5 locations in New England and is open for business. For more information on location openings, go to hairman.com/Howie. Get the hair you have always wanted today.
You can call him Fat Boy, just don't call him late for dinner. He's Howie Carr.
We will bring over your entire family from the third world Muslim hellhole that they live in so that they can have an all-expenses-paid, taxpayer-funded with open bar weekend at a nice hotel in Boston, get a nice sightseeing tour, maybe take them to Fenway Park for a game, so they can see their savage Muslim terrorist kinsman sentenced to death. But the president of the United States of America can't be allowed to speak before Parliament because he's such a terrible barbarian, as opposed to the dictator of Red China. And I'm going to call it Red China. Since the Dems are down on Russia, we might as well go after all the communist dictatorships that are left, right? Russia isn't even a communist dictatorship. It's just authoritarian now, but let's call it Red China. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? If it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300. And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
Hi, this is Val from Longmeadow, Mass.
Hi, this is Tony and Pietra from Haverhill, Massachusetts.
This is Murney in Fairfax County, Virginia, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company that I trust. Give them a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Should Congress reapprove the reauthorization of the secret FISA courts?
No more secret courts. What could possibly go wrong?
93% say no.
All right. 844-500-4242. Jason, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jason.
I'm going to try to be as quick as I can. I drive truck for a living. I'm currently in New York. I've been to New Jersey, the hot zone. I've been Canada since this whole thing has started. My girlfriend works security Walmart in Waterville, and before the mask all came about, so we should have been doomed by the coronavirus. And went to the protest 3 weeks ago in Augusta, Maine, and I saw Governor Paul LePage at the car, but I had a news, Channel 8 News was there, and I had an interview with them. And I said, what time will that be on? They go, 6 o'clock. And I turned it on at 6 o'clock just to see, if they'd put me on. And because I said we wanted the truth and we didn't want to be lied to, they didn't air it. And then the third thing real quick, what good is a president if he can't override our state governors?
We come back to this recurring point, Jason. We live in a federal system, it's the 10th Amendment. Anything the feds can't do goes to the states or something like that. I'm not that up on the 10th Amendment when you get right down to it. But what do you want him to do?
Basically look at, the numbers in Maine.
Yeah.
If you trust any numbers, I don't even know what numbers you trust, but I live in Kennebec County area, and I had this disagreement with somebody because they're up in Penobscot and we raise stock cars, and the reason Penobscot County is not opened up is because it's in the community. And I said, well, that makes no sense. My theory is if it's in the community, it should be more highly spread then. So
Well, they
you're
have some nursing homes. Isn't that what it's all about in Penobscot County? And they're going to, and by the way, Penobscot County is going to open up on June 1st.
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to, but based on what you just told me about what Janet Mills did to she waits till the last minute, and that's why people are getting upset. She waits till the last minute to come out with her new plans. And so we're hoping and being optimistic, but she seems to just do whatever she wants. And Rick Savage, you know Rick Savage real well.
Right,
I don't
right.
know what he
Sunday River Brewing.
Got pulled again, I think. Yeah, I think he got his permits pulled again because his employees weren't wearing masks.
Oh, God.
It's and then she opens up the courts for herself, but doesn't open them up for anybody else. And that's what I'm saying. At what point? I mean, somebody has to be able to trump her. Everybody has a boss, and yes, we vote people in, but unless you have $1 million to sue somebody or a lawyer that's willing to take on a case, but she's supposed to have all these lawsuits against her, and I don't know of any verdict of it.
No, it takes a while, and you get a victory like the guy did in that court in Illinois that we were talking about earlier with Judge Mckinley saying that Pritzker had overruled his authority, and so then the state will just go into the next level of court and get a temporary restraining order pending another hearing, and the businessman named Bailey in this case will still be shut down. I don't know the answer, Jason. I mean, it's just that we have to learn to be more careful about who we vote into office. And and again, I would never have voted for Janet Mills. You probably wouldn't have either. But I mean, our fellow citizens have got to pay a little more attention and realize that you don't want to elect these kind of little tyrants or people who have the potential to be tyrants. You want small government people. You want people who believe in individual liberties and not the power of the state, who don't believe in the power of the state. That's who you want. Thanks for the call, Jason. Bill, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, Howie, how you doing? Hey, I live up here in Brunswick. And it's funny, you can go across the river into Topsom, into Saginaw County. You can go to lunch, you can go to dinner. But we had gone out on Friday night, and we went to dinner, and there was 10 people in the restaurant.
Really?
And then we went for breakfast on Saturday, and there was 6 of us in the restaurant. And this place is usually packed. You're talking like 90 people, 100 people.
Why is that?
At any given time.
Why?
And I owned a restaurant up here, but we decided not even to open this year. So I ended up going back to truck driving, but we just said, forget it, because by the time you get, done with everything, it's not even going to be worth it. And there was a post that came up on Facebook, and somebody posted all the businesses that are closed in the Mid-Coast area. And as of a couple of weeks ago, it was up to 32 businesses that are permanently closed.
Wow. So how many people did you have, Bill? How many people did you have working in your restaurant?
Yeah. What's that?
How many people did you have working in your restaurant?
It was me, my wife, and my kids. So it wasn't huge. It's a mobile barbecue restaurant that we open seasonally, but we decided not even to open this year. You know what I mean? Because it's like, by the time you get done with food and everything now, you can't even get half of the meats and stuff that we wanted to get.
Right. So what are your kids going to do? What are your kids going to do for the summer?
My kids have gone. They've all gotten regular jobs. They're CNAs and stuff, so they went back to work.
Wow, it's just a shame, isn't it? I mean, Maine is such a fun place in the summer. So is Cape Cod, and it's just the whole coast of New England is just a great place to be and a fun place to be. And if you're a kid, you can make some money and set aside money for college. Hang out with your friends, and it's all gone this year, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just feel bad for these businesses, and it's funny because my kids are like, oh, and I tell my kids, I'm like, life as you know it has changed. I said, because by the time all this is over, say it goes away, in a month, I said all these businesses are going to be gone.
Right. I know down in Massachusetts, one of the heads of the retail association said if this goes on much longer, 30% of the businesses, at least in Massachusetts, are going to be gone. 30%. And every week it lingers. It's a vacation for the hacks, but it's just more businesses gone. I'm Howie Carr. Hey campers, this is Howie Carr. Camping season is here and Cold Springs RV is ready for you. If a new or pre-owned camper has been on your wish list, check out the great specials online at coldspringsrv.com. The inventory that was purchased for the RV show that was canceled is now bursting at the seams. Now is the time to score a great deal. Visit coldspringsrv.com for RV specials, as well as information on hours and operations. Safety is Cold Springs RV's top priority, so please visit the website to learn more. If it is service you need, the brand new state-of-the-art facility is ready for you, servicing all makes and brands. If your RV needs body work, whether it's a collision repair, roof replacement, or a new paint job, they have you covered. From minor repairs to major insurance jobs, Cold Springs RV can do it all. Their body shop works with all insurance companies. As a full-service RV dealer, you know they can fix just about anything. Cold Springs RV, Route 114, Ware, New Hampshire. coldspringsrv.com.
Whether it's global warming, global cooling, or climate change, one thing's for certain, the progressive moonbats can't stop talking about it.
We're talking about cities all over the world, major cities going underwater.
You know, I've spent a lot of time now with these young students, and they're scared. And a lot of young people are even suffering from, they're calling it extinction illness.
So that we can have people here who truly are committed to climate change, believe in climate change as though it's a religion, it's not a science.
A woman whose dreams of motherhood now taste bittersweet because of what I know about our children's future.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
That curing cancer is going to be much more difficult when there's so much climate change and pollutants in the environment, because a lot of cancer is environmentally caused.
Recognizing and acknowledging the link between animal agriculture and climate change is a very bold move, making tonight plant-based.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
Joe Biden might be running for president in 2020, so we should play some of his greatest hits.
Barack and I finally reduced the disparity in sentencing, which we've been fighting to eliminate, in crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. Correct. It was a big mistake when it was made. We were told by the experts that crack, you never go back.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. If there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony, put that double-barrel shotgun, and fire 2 blasts. They're going to put you all back in chains. Give me a break. That's a bunch of malarkey.
The 3-letter word, jobs. J-O-B-S, jobs.
One man stands ready to deliver change we desperately need. A man I'm proud to call my friend. A man who will be the next president of the United States, Barack America.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name VB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends, or we were married or whatever. And BB was always saying that we were whipped. You know what I mean? Finally, I said, you don't even have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a female. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy.
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020 and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish off the destruction of this once great country.
Out of all of your daughters, who is the least like you and why?
Probably Charlotte, even though we went to the same high school, Deerfield Academy. She has a different sense of her responsibilities than I do. Let me put it that way. She has a different regard for money. She's not a cheap bastard, in other words. 844-500.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. Ann, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Ann.
Yeah, hi. So I just want to know, where the hell are all of the chambers of commerce in Massachusetts? There's 351 cities and towns in this state, so I would imagine there's chambers.
Yeah, so they're regional, but yeah, you're right. There's the
chambers.
South Shore Chamber. There's the Worcester Chamber, which is run by Crash Murray, the former lieutenant governor. The Boston Chamber of Commerce, I guess it's run by a guy named Rooney, kind of a career hack, but he's been pushing back a little bit. But you're right. I mean, they haven't really been out front, have they?
No, and the purpose that a small business, a local business joins a chamber is for the chamber to almost act like a union. You know what I mean? Where they, the strength in numbers. And it's been crickets, absolute crickets. And I would just like to add one more thing. When one asks the question, why are these governors and mayors doing these horrible draconian shutdowns? The only answer is they either are incredibly stupid or incredibly sinister. And really, that's all. Those are the only two options that one has when you're looking at motive. That's all I have to say.
How about, Ann, can I give you one more? How about incredibly craven and frightened? I think that describes Parker, doesn't it?
You know what? That describes him because he's a rhino. I think when it comes to the Democrats, I think it's their sinister motive to shut down all these businesses and make everyone dependent on the government, and then they can just tax the few. It's really hard. But I think you're right. And if like Baker is craven, it's vile. He's really, I can't wait until 2022, the Mass GOP convention. I hope he better not even throw his name in the ring, because I'm going to be one of the delegates, and he will get nowhere. I mean, when you look at how close Scott Lively got at the last convention, right?
Yeah.
37%. That's not chicken scratch.
No, I know. And Scott Lively had no money. He was not an incumbent, and he was carrying baggage, Ann, and people still gave him over a third of the vote in the primary. You're right. This is a good segue into my next segment here. Jim Lyons, the Republican state chairman, he had a meeting of the committee last night, the Republican State Committee, and they drafted a letter. And this is a hell of a letter. I tweeted it out earlier in the day. And I'm just going to read you some of it. And a lot of it is just exactly what Ann was just saying. This is, Dear Governor Baker. This is Jim Lyons' letter, but it's signed by 300 officials, including 3/4 of the Republican State Committee. Dear Governor Baker, you've no doubt noticed how prominent Massachusetts Democrats have been quick to criticize any and all efforts to allow the reopening of the Commonwealth's businesses. U.S. Rep. Ayanna Pressley recently took to social media to claim that policy decisions that offer a false choice between public health and economic recovery will hurt our communities. While still other Democrats on Beacon Hill have criticized your administration directly, accusing you of, quote, deciding how to balance death and the economy. By now, it should be clear, says Jim Lyons in the Republican State Committee, the shutdown of private businesses, large and small, has given the Democrat Party, the party of government overreach, a political boost. This disastrous pandemic has led to unconstitutional decrees being set in stone almost overnight, creating what is unquestionably a dream scenario for the Democrats. Stifle independence, entrepreneurship, and personal responsibility, and you create a world dependent upon the state. We write to you today, again, this is the Republican State Committee, to urge you to push back publicly on the Democrats' demands to keep Massachusetts shuttered. And then he makes a point that I've been making for a while. Baker is pretending that, he can keep the state safe. But listen to what they write now in the next paragraph. We write to you today to remind you that the most regulated businesses in the Commonwealth, our nursing homes, also happen to account for more than 61% of all COVID-19 related deaths. I'm sure Charlie Baker didn't like to hear that. That's probably why all the hacks that are still remaining on the committee refused to sign the letter. I'll be giving you a list soon of who they are and how much money they make, from Faker Baker, Tall Duvall, Charlie Parker. We write to you today, says the Republican State Committee, to convey the frustrations of small business owners who have had to padlock their doors while their big box competitors across the street are allowed to remain open. We write to you today to remind you, as if he has to be reminded, you have to remind a Republican governor, that the Massachusetts business community lives and breathes on the ambitions, creativity, and dreams of its residents, but will die a painful death if it succumbs to the whims of an unelected bureaucracy. These business owners realize the importance of maintaining a hygienic environment. If the public does not trust them and their products, no amount of government intervention will keep them afloat. Then you talk about the decline in tax revenues. This precipitous drop in revenue can only be halted by the reopening of our businesses. Meanwhile, out-of-work business owners must still somehow find a way to pay rent. The Commonwealth's workforce must eventually have to pay an income and property tax as well as take care of their families. 10 weeks of lockdowns have been enough. We flattened the curve, prevented our hospitals from being overwhelmed, and sacrificed our liberties. We've watched as a hyper-partisan media have misfired on their forecasts of doom. To rebuild our economy, the solution is not more regulations, but less bureaucratic interference. Americans, especially here in Massachusetts, continue to battle this deadly pandemic and are more than capable of continuing to open the economy safely. And after that scorching letter, Jim Lyons closes by saying, in the best collegial legislative tradition, we support your efforts to continue to aggressively fight the virus and to continue to reopen Massachusetts. That's a good letter.
Did this just happen?
Yeah, just happened. It just happened. Incidentally, one more thing here. The governor has been saying all along with the Holyoke nursing home that that they didn't get any news until I think it was a Sunday night in March. The mayor of Holyoke, Alex Morse, called pay-to-play Polito and told him that there was an outbreak in the Holyoke nursing home. There's 74 dead now, veterans, and so he's always said, well, we didn't know anything till that Sunday night. We didn't know anything till that. He's very precise until even yesterday. I can't find the sound cut right now, but even yesterday he said, we didn't know anything until that Sunday night. We were not told until Sunday night. So as he was saying that yesterday at his press conference at the State House, the lawyer for the superintendent of the suspended superintendent of the Holyoke Soldiers Home, the former DA, Bennett, was holding a press conference on behalf of his nephew, the suspended superintendent. Bennett Walsh is his name, the superintendent's name. And he laid out all the documents, all the emails and texts that his nephew, the superintendent, had sent to the state for a week before Charlie Parker said he knew anything about it. There was 58 pages of text. So we linked to them in the Herald today. The Globe wouldn't link to it because it makes their man Charlie Parker look bad, but it's out there that the superintendent was keeping the state totally in the loop for a week before Charlie Parker said it. Now remember, that's the way I'm saying this cut up. Charlie Parker, until yesterday, said he didn't know anything until that Sunday night. I think it was March 22nd. But today, after these 58 pages of documents showing that the state had been informed at every step of the way, and that his earlier statements were inoperative, as the Nixon administration used to say during Watergate, he changed his tune a little bit about the precise time when he learned that there was a problem. Cut 17.
Well, I've said for a while now, and Alex Morse, who's the mayor in Holyoke, who told the lieutenant governor, Secretary Sutters, and me on a Sunday night at the end of March what the story was. But I've said for quite a while that I want to wait and see the results of Mark Pearlstein's investigation. We hired him 2 days after we were made aware of the impending and exploding tragedy there. And there's a lot of back and forth, which is not surprising given the significance of what happened there. But I'm waiting for Mark's report.
He keeps calling him Mark. I mean, how are we supposed to think? You know, this guy is supposedly a former federal prosecutor. You know, he's a hard-nosed G-man. And Tal Duvall is calling him Mark, like they were in the same fraternity together. They were in the same Brazilian club, Hasty Pudding at Harvard or something. What a fraud. 844-500-4242. 978. Lyon's letter is not nearly strong enough. They need to toss Baker out of the party. There is no reason to tar the rest of the party with that moron. I think the mass GOP response is a little too late and actually gives Tal Duvall cover by blaming things on the Democrats. I mean, they're in the same party. I mean, that's a pretty strong letter for a state committee to send a sitting governor of their own party. They had to go back and forth a lot to get that much in there. And remember, a lot of the people on that committee are hacks, Baker hacks. Not that they voted for this, but you know, some of them are state reps. Not that the state reps voted for it, but this is the sense of the committee, as they say. Tony, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Tony.
Hey, Howie, you know, when I read all these dystopian sci-fi novels as a teenager, you know, I never expected that I would end up living in one. Let me tell you what happened to me and my girl when we went shopping today, okay? We went shopping in Portland, Maine at a well-known grocery store that shall remain unnamed.
Yes.
We line up, and the woman asks if we have anything to cover our face with. And we explain, you know, like you did, you know, I'm sorry, we both have asthma. We can't wear masks. That's fine. We go in and we do our shopping. Everybody is wearing a mask and everybody's looking at us like we have three heads. So we step up to the counter and, you know, wait for them to take our groceries. And I step up to do I like to bag my own groceries. So I'm told I can't bag my own groceries. And if I want to bag my own groceries, they won't bring me out.
What?
That just tells me you get free groceries, right?
No, unfortunately not. Then to cap it off, me and my girl go to a large sporting goods retailer in Scarborough, right?
Yeah.
And my girl goes in and buys a shirt, but I'm talking with a woman there, right, who basically pulled the same thing. She wanted to go into this sporting goods retailer without a mask because she's had severe asthma. And the person guarding the door at the sporting goods retailer said, you cannot come in without a mask. And if you attempt to come in without a mask, I will call the police and have you removed.
Oh, God. And I guess stories like this is why those restaurants in Brunswick that the earlier caller was talking about are deserted, because nobody wants to jump ugly with somebody like that, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. This lady, you know, called the National Customer Service to say, you can't do this. This is a violation of the American Disabilities Act.
Right.
And
throw in HIPAA too. I throw in HIPAA if I have to.
Yeah.
I want to see your papers. No, HIPAA says I don't have to show you my papers.
It's getting scary here, Howie. Just thought I'd let you know.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Tony.
Your papers, please.
I'm staying here in free America. I'll tell you. You know, my father was the 13th child. He was the last child born, and I was born when he was 47. So I heard from my aunts and uncles about the the Spanish flu of the 1919. And the most popular member of that family was my uncle, Charlie Carr, and he had just gotten, he was an engineer or something, and had just gotten married, and he had a young kid, Charlie Carr Jr. And Spanish flu came by and killed Charlie, his wife, and Charlie Jr. And my aunts and uncles would talk about him occasionally, and they'd say, yeah, he died in the flu in 1919 or whenever it was. But I mean, there were no stories like that. There was nothing. There were no masks in Portland or anywhere else back then. Nothing shut down. Deerfield Academy, where I went to college, I went to prep school. They apparently in 1919 they extended the winter term vacation for 1 week because it was bad in Sunderland and South Deerfield, where the day students came from. But they had graduation. And I mean, that was a terrible, that was 10, 20, 30 times worse than this.
Got a break.
This is ridiculous. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
He's New England's talk radio king. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by 110 Grill, now open for outdoor dining on their beautiful patios in New Hampshire. To find your nearest location, sign up for their loyalty program, or to order takeout, go to 110grill.com. Do you have no water, poor water quality, or low pressure? This is Howie Carr. Call the local water service experts, Skillings & Sons. They're ready with 24-hour service with no extra charge for after-hours calls, and a fleet of trucks stocked with parts to make sure you're not without water. With over 50 years of experience, they take pride in having a family of employees that are the best in the business. For all things water, Skillings & Sons is there for you. SkillingsandSons.com. Face coverings are the new normal, but the kind you use really matters because not all offer the same protection. Boomer Naturals has a highly recommended consumer covering. It's 3 layers of ultra soft and breathable cloth, and it comes in sizes for both adults and children. This cotton polyester blend cloth is made for use up to 30 days when hand washed between uses. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use code HowieCarr20 at checkout and save 20%. Free shipping and handling on any order over $50. And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all 3 chambers of Congress, all 3 chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases, people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth, or your teeth are discolored, or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
is Kennedy Babylon 2 your last book?
No, if I think of another topic for a book I want to write, I'll go for it. But I think it's the last of my Kennedy Babylon series. I made Kennedy Babylon 2 kind of long because I wanted to get everything in there. Now there's other stuff I could write about, but I'm Kennedy now.
Since having the sleeve operation, do you miss not eating big meals?
No, I don't. I can still eat what I used to eat. I just can't eat as much. I'm now very surprised how much I used to eat. I'm surprised at how much people I eat with consume. It's just hard to believe that I used to eat that much, but no, it's not a problem.
How is Mr. Gooner since Pearl's passing?
Mr. Gooner is drowning his sorrows in food.
What is the most trouble you ever got into as a kid?
My father was giving me grief one time up at Moosehead Lake in Maine, and I threw a rock at him. He didn't much like that.
This is Mark in Williston, Vermont.
This is Marie in Somerville, Massachusetts.
This is Mike from South Attleboro, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
Or stop work on roads and bridges. So what does the human cost?
Is anything coming?
No, he's just stunk up the room.
Oh, okay.
Or stop work on roads and bridges. So,
oh my God. I heard it more clearly that time. I don't think there can be too much doubt about that one.
Or stop work on roads and bridges. So
that was a wet one.
He cut a Swalwell. 774 says, just read this article. Town of Plymouth ticketed 29 cars for parking at Morton Park parking lot. The people were fishing in the pond. The town said you can fish, but you can't park.
Barbaric.
That makes no sense. Yeah, Dan Crenshaw, the congressman from Texas, tweeted out a picture from New Jersey, one of the seaside towns, and it said, fishing allowed, but no sitting while you're fishing. You can't bring a chair. You have to stand.
So you can be in the submarine, but you can't watch the submarine races.
I'm sorry.
Another Joe Biden pastime.
Oh, boy. Okay. 844-500-4242. Sorry we didn't get to all the calls. We'll be back with you tomorrow at 3. I'm Howie Carr.
Over the past few weeks, we here at Matthews Brothers have come to realize some interesting things. For example, unless celebrities